Hello and good afternoon and welcome to Visit Worcestershire New Road, where the Rapids will play their first home game of this T20 Blast campaign. We welcome Yorkshire to our part of the world. Both sides will be looking to get into the winning habit rather quickly. They both suffered defeats first time round, so we're hoping for a good game of cricket this afternoon. Yorkshire have won the toss and decided to field. We'll give you team news in just a moment, but I think we should probably introduce ourselves. It's the best way to go about things. My name's Jim Dale, new to the live stream team here at Worcestershire, but a man who needs no introduction, but he's going to get one anyway because there's contractual obligation to do so. It's Mr. Cricket, Frank Watson. How are you, sir?
That's very kind of you. I'm very well, thank you, Jim. Lovely to be here at New Road with a good crowd in on a sunny afternoon, and as you say, both sides looking for their first wins after both not doing too badly in the first game but falling a little bit short. I say not doing too badly, Yorkshire conceding
balls to Wells. It's heaved away towards the leg side, out towards wide long on. There is Finch, in and balls to Jennings. Slower ball, it's pulled high, over fine leg, for six. It's amazing where they can get these shots, isn't it, and where they can find the boundaries. Six for Jennings over fine legs.
Yeah, in the end, more than enough for it to carry fine leg.
70 without loss.
In and driven over extra cover. That's two bounces and over the ropes for 4 runs from Luke Wells.
He is what he is.
Brooks in and Wells hits this high and long, going down the throat of the Worcestershire player, and it's taken. Felt like that he'd got more of that.
Catch, because it hung up in the air a long time. It would have been affected by the wind, not the breeze. Would have been affected by that, and it was well taken. Adam Hose, the man.
Sing in and worked over extra cover. They'll look to come back for 2. It comes into the keepers and it's taken. Run out. Brooks comes in, takes all pace off again, and they work that out to long off. And he sends Turner back, and that'll be Jennings 50. Disappointed he didn't cash in there. There's a big hoik into the leg side for 6. He picks the ball well, does Keaton, down on one knee.
So far.
Hindley in and big slog sweep again. Is it into the deep? It's taken. No, it's not. He pushed it back. He's taken it. It's a great catch. What a fantastic piece of work in the deep.
A yard off making that yet another 6. It's a brilliant piece of fielding. Ethan Brooks, the fielder, who caught it inside the boundary, threw it in the air, and he thought he'd thrown it too far back into the...
Singh comes in and bowls to Turner. It's carved away through the offside, out toward deep backward point. It'll reach the rope. It's 4 for Turner. Deep backward square leg. In comes Brooks and bowls. It's wide. It's carved up and over extra cover. It'll be bouncing over the rope. In fact, he may have cleared the rope. What's going to be the outcome? Yes, it's 6. Cautious to Turner, short and wide. He's uppercut it down towards the third man boundary. Will it skip away towards the rope? It will. Left arm round the wicket. Driven down the ground. One bounce, skips over the rope. It does. In to Turner, short and wide. It's in the air and it will be caught at short fine leg by Singh. Inside the circle. Turner playing for the team, looking for boundaries.
On the over where he managed to carve it over third man for 4. This time a little bit of pace off, a little bit wider, and couldn't quite get enough bat on it this time to carry, so just logged up. Simple catch, short third man.
On and off the field. Singh into green. First ball, he's hit it right back down and he's caught by Singh. The 18th over, Singh in, balls down the pitch, comes Blatherwick, plenty of height. Has he got enough to clear the man? I don't think he has, he hasn't. And wait, Singh comes Duffy. Is he cleared mid-off? No, he's caught. Bannon departs for 4. 19 not out. Dwarshuis in, bowls, it's wide, it's hammered away, but underneath it is Cashier Fally. No, he's not, it's over the top of the fielder at long off. 3 balls left, 171 for 7. Dwarshuis to Wood. Well, that's an inside edge past the keeper. It's gone for 4. Frustration. 26 not out. In comes Dwarshuis. Balls to Jones. Swings through to the keeper. They'll run anyway. It'll be run out, but it was worth a go. And that is the end of the 20 overs. Wood to set off for Lancashire Lightning. Hammered away over extra cover. It's a blistering start by Pollock, who flashes that up and over short cover, which is quite a mean feat because it's Luke Wells fielding there. And balls. It's off the pads by Pollock down towards fine leg, to the left of short fine leg, inside the circle and down towards the boundary for 4 in a Lancashire shirt this summer. And balls high again by Pollock. It's in the air and Jones again chasing after it, running backwards and takes a good catch. With a lot of ground to make up and the ball falling over his shoulder. It went a mile in the air once again.
The wind, and that time not quite as high, not quite as far, and it meant that he could get himself underneath and set a good catch over his shoulder. Never easy to take. If you drop them ever and can't believe.
It's Green. And balls to D'Oliveira. It's pulled behind square on the leg side. It's probably run away for 4. It does. Turner on that leg side boundary. For him, swings in towards Kashiafali, who launches the ball high towards the leg side. Lovely shot for 6. Goodness me. Whip that away. Maybe with the help of the wind again. Trying to piece together a squad. Wood in balls, back of a length, pulled. Kashiafali out towards the leg side boundary. 1 bounce and 4 runs. He moves to 13. Powerful start. 13 from 6 for him. Kashiafali on strike. Stanley in balls. 6. Hammered high out towards the leg side. If the party stand was there, it's a dozen rows back. Lovely clean hitting from Kashiafali. Waits for Stanley. Goes again. The best of the night. Lovely straight drive down the ground all the way for 6, I reckon it is. What a shot. Kashiafali, beautiful straight lofted drive down the ground. 48 for 1. Aspinwall in balls. Uppercut down to third man. That might be 6 more. Only a run behind at this point with 3 balls left of the 5th. That's work to the right of mid-on. That's 4. Cracked down the ground by Kashiafali. In and balls. Step to the leg side. Carved away through the off. It's gone for 4. 5 inside the circle on the offside. Dragged behind square on the leg side by Kashiafali. He's got 4 runs.
Wells in and it's high. It's down the neck of Jack Blatherwick. Straightforward, conventional catch at square leg. And Luke Wells comes in and gets the breakthrough wicket.
Luke Wells with a bit of extra bounce, this getting the top edge, which went steepling up into the outfield. Jack Blatherwick finish in a minute.
Stanley in, cut out through to extra. It's a lovely shot from D'Oliveira and it'll make its way to the boundary.
Fired in generally.
Wells in and pulls through the leg side, will it?
Oh no.
This is in and D'Oliveira goes for a big outside edge, big appeal and given.
Bowls a good Yorker.
Ball's a short ball straight to 45 and it's out.
Here comes Wells, balls. It's muscled down the ground by Roderick. Bohannon's quick across the ground, throws in towards the keeper's end. They're looking for a run-out chance. He's got it.
Piece of fielding there. He's thrown it a good 70 metres, 80 metres.
Bounces twice, picked up by Hurst. He knew he was struggling, he knew he was struggling. He returns. That's driven away by Brooks, who it beats the effort from Wood, tumbling away to his left. Blatherwick in and bowling, hit down the ground beyond the reach of mid-on, where Aspinwall put the dive in. This Blatherwick bowls once more, muscled out towards the leg side by Brooks. There's a fielder on the leg side boundary, it's Josh Bohannon. Blatherwick bowls again, that's carved away, it beats the infield, it does, down towards the boundary. 35 to win. Here's Green, starts his final over, cut by Dwarshuis out toward deep back, will point that a run away for 4. Brooks waits, left arm over the wicket, in and bowls, high, leg side, in the air, who's under it? Green's there, and he isn't dropping that. Here's Aspinwall to finish it off, muscled out towards the leg side. It'll be a 4 or a 6, I'm not sure. It's a 4, but it doesn't matter. Lancashire Lightning find themselves a victory.
maybe could have gone better?
I think there's a couple of things really. I think in terms of, if you look at a lot of the stats, we've matched them in a lot of things, but things like they probably outran us a little bit in terms of they scored a lot of twos out of the power play. Again, knowing how to play their conditions, probably putting off the angles in the field a little bit better than we did. Apart from that, I think both power plays were really strong. We came out of that. It was pretty chaotic when we bowled in it, but I'd like to think we caused that as well when we batted in it. And it was just those fine margins. Difficult to say exactly what it would be, but when it comes down to a game where we lose by 7 runs, probably the guys up there are probably thinking a couple of things that they could have done slightly differently. But I was really proud of how they played today. I thought we should take a lot of positives.
To get you right back into it after their excellent power play, it was the slower bowlers that did a good job. In hindsight, might Brett have bowled a little bit more?
Possibly. I think it's really easy with the game in hindsight, always afterwards. But I thought Fateh bowled really well. Ethan Brooks obviously bowled really well. Really pleased for Fats and Tom and Jacob Duffy actually to get their first T20 wickets for the club. And I thought they handled themselves really well. We knew that by playing the balance of the side that we did, that probably one of the spinners might not bowl much, but we also knew that it gave us a lot of depth in that. So I was really pleased for those guys. I thought how we managed it out of the power play was really important, and it felt like whilst it was a really competitive total, it was one that we could have chased down.
When you did bat, nobody managed to go on to anything really big, but some bright innings to start with, particularly Kashif.
Yeah, I thought Cash did really well. By the looks of it, it was probably the time to bat was in the power play, and he took real advantage of that. I thought he played some just strong cricket shots, played really well. I thought really well supported by Brett. And then we just stumbled a little bit, didn't we, at halfway, where we lost a couple of wickets, and suddenly Gareth and Ethan are batting, and they hadn't faced the ball between them, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But I thought we kept sticking at it, and like I say, on another day we probably got over the line. Incredibly disappointing to start like that in terms of a result, but in terms of a performance, a lot's to build on, I think.
And Yorkshire at New Road on Sunday, you look ahead to that one, presumably go away and have a little think about how this went, and then maybe sticking to pretty much the same sort of plans.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of a blueprint. Well, we have a blueprint of how we want to play our cricket, and the mantra of how we want to do it, and it won't change. But obviously, when you play at different venues against different sides, there's some real subtleties to the tactics to that, and how we look about how we've got some nice options, left out some good cricketers today. So we'll see how we go in terms of that, and we'll continue to march onwards.
And we always say it'll be nice to be at New Road with a full house perhaps on Sunday and really get the place going.
Yeah, it'd be really nice. Weather looks good, so fingers crossed we'll have plenty of support there, and we can put on a real good show.
Thanks for your time.
.co.uk.
The team news now. So Worcestershire Rapids unchanged from the game on Thursday night, and they will be batting first. Yorkshire won the toss and decided to field. So Ed Pollock and Brett D'Oliveira will open up. Kashif Ali, Adam Hose, Ethan Brooks, Gareth Roderick will keep wicket. Gwen Dorshus, Tom Hindley, Fatty Singh, Adam Finch and Jacob Duffy as well. As for Yorkshire, they have made a change. So Matt Milnes has made way for Dan Moriarty. So they line up as follows. Adam Lyth, captain Dawid Milan, Will Luxton, James Wharton, Harry Duke will keep wicket, Will Sutherland, Matt Revis, Don Bess, Dan Moriarty and Jafar Chauhan. Will O'Rourke, the overseas spinner, keeps his place as well. So a seamer out, a spinner in, Frank.
Yeah, seamer out, spinner in, which kind of in keeping with the pattern of play that we've seen throughout the T20 Blast this year so far, in my opinion. Up and down the country, north and south groups, pace off seems to have been the way to go for the successful teams, and the teams that have just tended to blast away with their quick bowlers have been the ones on the wrong end of the results. Bit of a generalism, but that seems to be the way. And certainly watching Yorkshire against Northampton the other night, their seamers went the distance in the power play particularly, and it wouldn't surprise me if they've turned up here, had a look at the pitch, seen that it's probably going to take a little bit of turn, and decided to go with the extra spinner. So that probably explains the thinking behind that. But having said that, who knows? It's early days in the campaign. They might just be thinking, well, you know, we'll just give it a little tweak and see if it works better with 3 spinners. But I think, again, we'll see from Worcestershire, despite the fact they're unchanged, that Alan Richardson talked in that interview about a blueprint for how they want to play this season, and I think that blueprint does include a considerable amount of work for Tom Hinley, Fateh Singh, Ethan Brooks, and 1 or 2 others. In terms of pace-off.
Well, the players are out, the volume has ramped up, we're just about to get underway, and we are going to have a trial volley spin early up. So Don Bess, former England cricketer of course, very talented all-round cricketer in his own right, he's going to open things up from the New Road end. Worcestershire Rapids captain Brett D'Oliveira will be facing first up.
Well, he bowled 4 overs for just 29 the other night in that high-scoring game, so that was quite a decent effort. But well, they didn't open up. They opened up with Seaman Perkins on Friday.
Well, you're right, Frank. These Seamers went round the park, didn't they? In comes Best then. And a big shout early on. Umpire unmoved. But it was a short boundaries, wasn't it, at Headingley, and a rapid outfield with all the practice pitches. Bess in again. And driven to mid-off, quick single taken. And we were talking actually before the game, Frank, weren't we, about the importance of, it's not about just hitting boundaries in that power play, it's making use of smart running, turning 1s into 2s, taking singles where you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, we all know the importance of the power play statistically.
Betting again, it's fired in. A solid defensive push back down the wicket. But fired that one in, Don Bess. He doesn't want D'Oliveira to get underneath him. Oh. And that's going to find its way. Is it to the boundary? It is. So the first boundary to Worcestershire in unconvincing fashion.
Inside edge, I think, from Ed Pollock.
Well, we know Ed Pollock's game since signing from Warwickshire. He will look to be aggressive here. Looks for the sweep. It's a good take in the end. That'll be a wide ball, though.
Yeah, talking about the importance of the power play, I think the stats tell us that if you lose 3 or more wickets in the power play, you are unlikely to win a game. I think that is changing a little bit.
Well, Bess is in again. Looked to side that away, a bit too close to cut, really. And taken by Harry Duke behind the stumps. The mulleted and mustachioed Harry Duke. He's got a very strong Australian vibe to his appearance. In comes Bess again. Cut into the offside. There won't be a single there. I think there was it fell away a little bit, particularly the first part of the fielding efforts from Yorkshire against Northants. They were excellent in the field, quick to the ball. You felt as they went round the park later on, they lost a little bit of the composure in that regard. But James Wharton in quickly there. He likes playing against Worcestershire as well. Does James Wharton.
He does indeed. And good afternoon to his dad, Paul, if he's listening or watching. Friend of mine from university, very good cricketer himself. And may well be here, but if he isn't, I'm sure he'll be watching. And James Wharton is becoming quite an important member of this Yorkshire side.
And we haven't got a camera in the commentary box. I wish we did. Frank is, trying to gain a better vantage point, and I'd say borderline breaking health and safety, but I'm here for it. No falling over, please, Frank. We need you.
I'll be all right. So it's Brett D'Oliveira on strike. Worcestershire 6 without loss after 1 over. And first ball of the second over is a quick one outside off stump from Will O'Rourke, the Kiwi, and through it goes. Brett D'Oliveira playing and missing at it, and taken by Harry Duke. Will O'Rourke timed at 95 miles an hour, I believe, in the IPL recently, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes, and it'll be interesting, Jim, to see how this surface compares to the ones that we've seen here in the Red Bull games. This one's short, and D'Oliveira swivels round, good shot, rolled his wrists on top of it, proper hook shot, and that one is down to the backward square leg boundary for Brett D'Oliveira's first boundary.
Well, whether it's
reached double figures.
Whether it's Headingley or New Road, if you go short in white ball cricket and you go pace on, more often than not it disappears. But as you say, Frank, really nice controlled shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, good comeback after that play and miss at the first one. D'Oliveira throws the kitchen sink at this one and misses it. If he got his edge to that, flying over the slips down towards third man, it would have been in with a chance of going all the way. Gave it a real big flash, made no contact.
Yeah, just lost his shape a little bit, but it's, I mean, when you've got Will O'Rourke's pace, you don't need to try and whack the casing off the ball.
Contact, isn't it?
But I think when you have a bowler who went for 67 in the last game, they'll want to get on top of him again here.
This one is short again, and D'Oliveira does get on top of it. And the difference, that one was absolutely to do with shape. As you said, Jim, he lost his shape completely, but on that one again, he's just waited for it. Even though it's a quick delivery, he's waited for it, he's made sure that he's kept his eye on it, and it's a very controlled shot, unlike the one before. So the second boundary in the over for D'Oliveira, and O'Rourke has conceded 8 runs from the 4 deliveries that he's bowled. 2 have passed the bat, 2 have gone to the ropes.
Well, I think there's a pattern occurring here.
The pattern of the over is continued. Playing a miss, boundary, playing a miss, boundary, playing a miss. Will the next one go to the boundary? And
well,
Paul, James Wharton's dad, Paul, is listening and watching. Good afternoon to he says, and let's hope we get a good contest here. Both sides looking for that win, but let's hope it's a good contest for this big New Road crowd on a Sunday afternoon. Last ball of the second over, and this one is left alone, and it's a wide. Left alone outside the off stump by D'Oliveira, and called wide by umpire Suri Shanmugam. So 15 without loss, Worcestershire. 1 ball left in the second over. Decent start. Not the sort of express start that we've seen in several power plays up and down the country in the last few days, but solid enough. What's your par? What's your par? What do you think is a good power play and a par power play? You can tell us at the end of the over, Jim. D'Oliveira takes a single off the last ball of the second over. So 10 runs coming from it, and Worcestershire after 2 overs having been put into about 16 without loss.
Well, I think it's really difficult to judge on here. I don't think there's a lot of pace in the wicket. It depends really whether we see any of that variable bounce that we saw in county championship games. I'm rather hoping not. I think it's probably around 170 on here.
Yeah, I think so. I'd maybe go a little bit lower than that. I think we've seen well, 70, 69 and 71 in that game on Thursday, but those are exceptional power plays, aren't they? I reckon if you've only lost 1 wicket, I think 55-60 is a decent power play. Maybe not a great power play.
Well, I was going to say, look, the overall total I think is about 170. Power play, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think with Worcestershire it's determinant on wickets lost more than most sides. I think as Best continues his work from the New Road end. down the wicket he goes, tries to drill that, and half stopped. But there's no Matthew Waite, no Tom Taylor for injury purposes. I think Matthew Waite's fingers giving him a bit of a difficult time, so that's a short-term layoff. Tom Taylor as well, who's a useful lower-order bat, that engine room of the Worcestershire side. So I think wickets intact are more important for Worcestershire in the power play necessarily than accumulating lots of runs. They'll want to do both, of course. As Pollock faces up and launches that. That's gone. And Jack bounces just in front of the boundary rope, but that's a signature Ed Pollock shot to wide, long on. And he got plenty of it. How can Best respond? He was very good on Friday night. And there's more of the same. Hasn't quite got enough of it. It's aerial. Will it make it to the boundary? Yes, it will. So again on one knee. And he's launched it, Ed Pollock.
I want to see him play the rest of this over out without doing anything silly now.
I know where you're going.
This is what he did on Thursday. And I hope he's saying to himself now, just control yourself.
You're right, Frank. Runs for the over. But he plays a certain way. It's not like he's new to this. So let's see as Bess is in again. Cut away this time, and he's out. Rock back, and he found that man behind square on the offside. And you can see Pollock's frustrated. And exactly what you were saying, Frank, is he's got the runs for the over, but he's a shotter ball, and that's how Pollock plays. But he's got to depart, and Dom Bess again in the wickets. Goes for two boundaries, but gets that breakthrough. So again, Ed Pollock flirts with double figures, but not for very long. But it will bring Kashif Ali to the wicket, who was striking the ball beautifully on Thursday night. But unfortunately, Frank, I think your concerns about how this might go for Ed Pollock, it was exactly that, wasn't it?
Well, it's very frustrating, I think. And although you say this is how he plays, he's reached a point in his career where it's almost like he's been given another chance in this competition this year, I think. And he's worked really hard. I know he's worked really hard. I hope I'm not sounding too negative. He's worked really hard on his game, and he plays seam better than spin. Possibly one of the reasons that Yorkshire have opened with Dom Bess. And as you say, you know, that over is won. There is no need to do that. There is no need to be loose to that fifth delivery, and it's cost him his wicket. Very frustrating.
Cash first up, pushes this down the ground, finds a space, quick single off the mark. Well, I think it perhaps was a little bit back of a length, and he saw an opportunity. He wasn't quite close enough to cut convincingly, but frustrating indeed. But that's the game, and Dom Bess is always in the game. Good in the field, good with the ball, much better with the bat than he was when he first came into county cricket as well. So 26 for 1 the score.
We've used the word control quite a lot today already, haven't we, in terms of batsman's shape and playing a controlled shot as opposed to playing a shot that is perhaps a little bit looser. And even though that ball offered the opportunity to play a shot, I didn't feel that it was a shot that he would have been happy with, really. I think his balance was wrong and his weight came off it, and it was just a little bit loose, and it cost him his wicket. It's cost Worcestershire. You know, how much better would it be if they maybe could have been a run fewer, but only one, no wickets down. Dan Moriarty is introduced from the Stiglitz end. And Kashif drives his first ball for a single. Moriarty, another left arm spinner, so the pace off strategy appears to be one that Yorkshire are embracing early on in this Worcestershire innings. Moriarty, who bowled particularly well up at Headingley last year in the equivalent game. Comes in now to D'Oliveira. And this one produces a single, just tickled round the corner. So 27 for 1, Worcestershire going along quite nicely. Pollock, the man out. Kashif Ali, top scorer at Old Trafford on Thursday. But, well, defeated by this one, and gets a fortunate single off the outside edge. And has to hurry, actually, as the throw comes in from backward point. But suggestion of a bit of movement, a bit of turn for Moriarty on that one.
Yeah, genuine edge, wasn't it?
Does spin it quite hard. This one just into D'Oliveira's pads and he turns it on the leg side for a single. Early days for us to make any judgments about this pitch, but suggestion that it is going to take a little bit of spin. Gives herself room this time. Does Kashif Ali.
Fielder was interested, wasn't he, for a moment?
Well, he gave himself a bit of room. Moriarty saw that and followed him, but he still managed to get inside it and played away behind square on the leg side. It was in the air for the first part of its journey to the boundary, but he got away with it. 34 for 1, his first boundary. And he wants a single here, but he's sent back by D'Oliveira, pushing it into the offside. But fielder coming in quickly from cover. So the end of over number 4, 34 for 1. Worcestershire. Well, that power play, I was saying I thought 50 for 1 might be reasonable. It's beginning to look as though it could be something along those lines. They won't want to lose another one, that's for sure.
Well, I think we're going to get a look at Will Sutherland, Aussie all-rounder. And it was a decent start from Moriarty, just the one ball that was dragged down a bit, pulled away to the boundary, 7 off that over. Yeah, length's going to be really important on this deck. Anything too full or too short and you could be in trouble, so how's your control really? In comes Sutherland then. Kashif facing a back foot... D'Oliveira face a back foot drive to mid-off. Not timed at all, but they'll take a single nonetheless. Quick between the wickets, these two. And they both like the strike as well. By no means the biggest, the tallest, or even the strongest, but they time a good cricket ball. So they've got no problems finding a boundary and they're in the mood. In comes Sutherland again. And that's a beautiful shot, beautiful stroke. It's gone all the way for 6. We saw one of those on Thursday night. Kashif just presents the full blade back over the bowler's head. Hold the pose, young man.
Yeah, beautiful shot. I mean, there is an argument that this Worcestershire line up without Matthew Wade, particularly Tom Taylor, lacks power hitters lower down the order. You've got the likes of Ethan Brooks who can manufacture boundaries around the wicket. Kashif probably the nearest to a big stroke maker that there is after Ed Pollock.
What's the reply then? Push back in his crease, but he'll take the single. Think about a second, but think better of it. O'Rourke's quick in, good fielding as well.
And that really is why Worcestershire need Kashif to get more than he did the other night when he got 39, played beautifully. But if they're going to get big scores in this competition, he's probably the man, if Pollock's gone, who they rely on most to go up to sort of 60-70.
D'Oliveira on the charge this time, but gets in a bit of a tangle, drops into the offside, but they'll take a single. Yeah, you're right, that engine room that we were talking about, that lower middle order, which has been actually so important in county cricket as well, in the 4-day stuff, their ability to find boundaries. And
but you look at some of the other sides around, and they've got people who are coming in at 7, 8, 9 who can clear the ropes for Thud.
That's short. It might be too short. It is. It's going to be signalled a wide.
He's got some pace, Sutherland. But he also went a good number on Friday in Yorkshire's first game, 47 off his 4 overs. However, he did make up for that when he came out with the bat, because he made 58, including 6 sixes and 2 fours. Might have some power hitting to look forward to from him later on.
Sutherland then in from the New Road end, and Kashif is there. Flails a bat at that. Not hugely controlled, but he's going to get away with it. Don Best in pursuit. Will it go to the boundary? Oh, that's a really good fielding in the end. And it's good running as well. They take 3. It's an aggressive stroke, but he wasn't entirely in control of it, Kashif. But when he's in the mood, he's a really dangerous cricketer. Good chase and good work in the end by Don Best to pull that back in. Yes, you're right. A big total to chase, and you thought the game was over by over 21 of the match in Yorkshire's last outing. Is that Reviston again? A little scoop, and he's going to get into trouble here, but he's just cleared the man. Was it Adam Lythe? His hands on heads. Preemptive shot that is, and the scoop was tantalisingly almost within the reach of the man behind square, but it finds the boundary nonetheless. Good end to the over from a Worcestershire perspective. Let's see, yes, we saw with Wharton and Harry Duke and Sutherland particularly, and good knock from that Revis as well.
Yeah,
but they still managed to get 220 plus.
good over for Worcestershire. That one's 17 coming from it, and now Will O'Rourke is coming back on. Moriarty just given that 1 over, and O'Rourke returning at the Diglis end.
Not uncommon in the modern game. Power play. Not uncommon to use multiple bowlers, is it?
No.
Sometimes 4 or even 5.
Yeah, even more. There's O'Rourke again with his high pace. He's in, he bowls, and he's going to get a wicket here. Kashif's gone, tried to go big, and he's caught at mid-on. An easy catch. He's just got right underneath it. Probably done by a bit of extra pace, and Worcestershire lose their second wicket in the power play with the score on 51. And again, you can't help but feel that it was just, you've got to play without fear, and you've got to try and play shots in the power play, but Worcestershire have lost Pollock and Kashif. You could argue that Kashif might have had a little look at Will O'Rourke for a ball or two before trying to go big, but they've lost their 2 biggest hitters. Possibly Adam Hose would disagree with that as he moves to the crease, but 51 for 2, 6th over, 2 very important ball strikers have been dismissed.
Well, this feels like an important partnership for the Rapids. 2 highly experienced and highly skillful batters at the crease. Adam Hose, of course, travels the world in a white ball perspective. And ball was a little bit short, Frank, and his eyes probably lit up and thought, if it's short, it's got to go. But Kashif, high on the bat, didn't time it. Easy catch in the end. Fielder in the ring. O'Rourke is underway. His T20 blast campaign for Yorkshire. Talented young New Zealand seamer.
Adam Hose cuts at this first one and misses it.
He's complaining about someone with it.
About somebody moving, I think, behind the arm. Quite sure who it is. There's actually a steward standing in the middle of the sight screen, the black sight screen at the Diglis end of the ground. He's just moved across the side. It could be that. He's wearing black, but he might have just moved. Hose is happy. Settles again. O'Rourke in. Hose is off the mark. Given that one, really, there's a big gap on the leg, so I just turned it away for a single.
What was your call, Frank? 55 at the power play?
55 for 1.
55
yeah, but yeah, something like that. It's okay. It's okay. It's part. It's not a flyer, is it? But it's a decent one. If you don't lose another wicket, then I think bowling side's probably had the best of it.
Well, it's never been a really big scoring ground, is it? I mentioned 170 around that mark.
Last year was about par, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I don't imagine it'll be too different to this.
It's so interesting as well. I think in T20 cricket worldwide, really, how the first innings. As Brett D'Oliveira goes big. Now that is what Kashif Ali was trying to do, and I think it was just just a bit fuller this one, just a bit more in the slot, and he's picked it up over mid wicket, and it's gone all the way. So that's a useful 6 off one delivery off O'Rourke, and again now you feel with the total on 58 for 2, don't need to do anything too extravagant in the remainder of this over. 2 balls left, get another couple, 60 for 2, that's a decent power play, especially on this ground, as you say, where 160, 170 tended to be about par last year. D'Oliveira flashes at this one outside the off stump, and it's taken by Harry Duke, and there's no run. Going back to what I was going to say about how it's interesting how the first innings of a game often dictates the tempo of the second. I think so. If you chase in 220, obviously you've got to go big, but you don't often get a game where the first team gets 200 and the second team gets them with 5 overs to spare, or the first team gets 160 and the second team gets them with 8 overs to spare. O'Rourke finishes the over, D'Oliveira cuts but straight to the fielder, and it's Adam Lyth, and there's no run. So the end of the over, 58 for 2 at the end of the power play. So if the first innings is 150, 160, the second team tends to come out and think, well, they struggle a little bit and they don't go mad in the power play, and they end up making it tight. Am I making sense?
No, and the mentality of it's interesting as well, especially if you have those players and you've got kind of the younger players who just want to see bat on ball and be creative, and that 360 batsmanship that you see these days. It can be a test of mettle. Well, we're going to see Jafar Chauhan. He had a good time of things at New Road last year. 4 wickets he took. Talented young cricketer, wrist spinner. Got a bit of a whack from Northants, but they all did on Friday. But
I think he'll get some response. I think he'll get some response from this surface. He's an exciting talent, isn't he? It's great to see wrist spinners in the game, isn't it?
That element of the unknown. Wrist spinners bring drama, is what I like about them.
And one on each side tonight, which is great.
Here comes Chauhan then. Just worked into the leg side. Thinking about 2. Firm shout from Adam Ho says no. But I think he came to the fore, didn't he, bowling in the nets against the England lot, and got Joe Root and Ben Duckett out as a young lad. I say young lad, he's still a young lad, isn't he?
I thought
he's only 22.
His first one, it's nicely bowled, he's gone for a single, but when you're a wrist spinner, you come on, just land that first one. Just land it somewhere there or thereabouts. That's a great shot.
Wow.
That's a great shot. That's a great, beautifully timed, lovely footwork from Brett D'Oliveira. And control, again, good shape, good control. Nothing at all risky about that. Beautifully executed.
Lovely balance on his feet as well to do really that. A little
good
shimmy. Well, it's being a wrist spinner.
Good over already. You don't need to go mad now. Pick up another 4 or 5 off the over.
And what's the young leggy's response? Pulled away this time. There's a man out there. Be cut off in front of the boundary rope. Will Luxton's doing the work. But they'll take a couple. But it's being a wrist spinner, the mentality is so important. There'll be a drag down or 2. You'll get whacked every now and again. But Shane Warne would always say his ability to outthink batsmen, be tougher mentally. More of the same, drilled down the ground, straighter this time.
Yeah,
what a lovely shot.
All the way, I think. Just
it is
over.
6 more. And again, D'Oliveira using his feet.
Beautifully played.
And really well placed as well, bisecting the 2 in the deep. Straight. And cut away. Well in front of square. Had to wait for that one. There is a boundary rider out there, so it'll just be a single. But another profitable over for Worcestershire this, with 1 ball to come. Adam Hose awaits. Fuller this time, and he's out.
No.
Was it not? Is it bump ball?
Yeah, bump ball.
I wasn't worried, Frank. Were you worried? I wasn't worried.
No.
I thought he drilled that straight to that man. Sorry if I've given you a very small but very real heart attack if you're sticking on the stream. I'm getting a nod from Remember Stafford. Good work, Jim.
So there we are, 74 for 2, 16 off that 7th over, and there you go, the power play 58 for 2. You might think, well, just a little bit down on what they might have wanted, but if you then get 16 off over number 7, you find yourself in a pretty decent position. I think Worcestershire should be fairly satisfied with this. Obviously, it'll be interesting what happens in the middle overs. So often the middle overs are the ones where the bowling side claws it back, and Dan Moriarty is being reintroduced into the attack at the Diglis end in an attempt to just put the brakes on a little bit after that big over. He's in now, and D'Oliveira sweeps nicely, but straight to the fielder at deep backward square leg, just a single. Moriarty, interesting approach to the crease. He starts his run up fairly conventionally, sort of 7, 8, 10 yards away, but in fact he just walks for about the first 4 paces, and then it's just a very, very tidy little finish to the delivery. Just a couple of strides, no real energy expended. 2 runs here to Hose, nicely played off the back foot, just given a little bit of length and room by Moriarty, just dragged that one down a little bit. 77 for 2. Just ticking along in these middle overs at the moment. Worcestershire going nicely. Moriarty again bowls, and Hose just picks up a single, just pushing this out on the onside. D'Oliveira's quick, but not quick enough to come back for 2. Fancied it at first, but never on. It's not the biggest outfield here at New Road. And with the ropes in a long way, I mean, they used to play right to the fence, of course, but those days are long gone now. It's, with the ropes in, 2s are not easy to come by. Certainly 3s are quite rare. And this will be just another single, clipped off his toes by D'Oliveira. So good from Moriarty so far in this over. Certainly won a ball, 6, 8 and over at this stage is well within the realms of acceptability from the bowling point of view. Quicker from Moriarty this one, a bit shorter, and Hose on the back foot drives up to extra cover, and this time they do come back for 2. Good running, despite Don Best being quite quick to the ball and getting his throw away. Case of both batsmen seeing the potential for the 2 and running that first one quickly.
We saw it early in the over, didn't it? I think they've been listening to the coach, Frank. He wanted more.
Moriarty finishes the over with another quick one, which just a little inside edge from Hose round the corner for a single. So decent over. I think both sides will be fairly happy with it. 8 runs coming from it. Worcestershire 82 for 2 off 8. Well, interesting the way it's gone. It's been 3 big overs, haven't there? There's a 16, a 17 and a 16. Other than that, one other in double figures. Other than that, it's just been ticking along. And as I say, I think Brett D'Oliveira, the captain out there with Adam Hose, the senior pro, fairly satisfied that Worcestershire have got a base. They've got a base here, 82 off 8.
the big overs means that they can just knock it about and take what's there. We're going to see Matty Revis come into the attack. Talented all-rounder. You think about the players that aren't on show, it's always been the case with Yorkshire and counties that side. No Bairstow and no Rashid and no Root. No Harry Brook.
George Hill.
Talented young players though. So in comes Revis to Hose, who looks to flick that and doesn't quite get it right, and the ball travels through to Harry Duke behind the stumps, but he was getting into position to play that little scoop shot very early.
Confidence of a player to do that. When this is the first ball that Revis has bowled in the game, he doesn't know where it's going to go. He thinks, well, I know, but he generally tends to pitch it up, so I'm going to set myself to play that ramp shot.
And it's short and wide, but Hose can't get bat on it. Yes, it does take confidence and a really good eye. I think I know the answer to this question. I mean, I'm of too old a generation to ever attempt to scoop. I tried it in the nets once playing club cricket and nearly killed myself, actually. Have you tried it?
Only messing about. Yeah, you've got to get your body out of the way. That's the secret to not killing yourself. Your bat is not in line with, obviously, with, otherwise you just do it straight back into your nose, couldn't you?
And Hose on the walk, but Revis sends that wide of his off stump, and it's been signalled as such by the umpire.
But I've worked with young players as a coach and seen them do it, and almost kind of learned off the student, if you know what I mean, because they can do it better than I can, and you only learn to teach it by watching other people do it. It's very interesting, and you can't discourage it these days. It's so much part of the game.
Hose goes for it this time, and he gets enough of it, and that's going to go down to the boundary for 4. And that's a perfect exemplar there of modern cricket. That's a really interesting point, Frank.
Yeah.
As a coach of young players who have grown up in a different era, certainly a different one than when I was learning the game, that you have to adapt and develop as a coach.
Absolutely. And it would be. I mean, I like many coaches, I'm a great believer. There's not much time for this talking in a T20, but great believer that you've got to get the basics in place first, and everything can be built on a good technique. But it would be wrong to discourage a youngster from playing these sort of shots, because that's modern cricket.
Cut away straight to that man behind square. Chauhan does the fielding.
This is a really frustrating over for Adam Hose, because although he's got that boundary away, there have been 3 dots. And 3 dots in the 9th over of a T20 is well, brilliant from the bowler's point of view, frustrating from Hose's point of view, and he will want, I'm sure, to find the boundary again in the rest of this over.
He just pushes this into the vacant spaces to mid-on. Think about a second, won't get it though. Don Bess is there again, always in the game, Don Bess. The ball seems to follow him around.
Good over from Revis.
Well, it's the modern era of cricket, is that play to your strengths, play the way you feel, and try and make the most of what you've got to work with. And I will say this, they're a slightly blustery visit Worcestershire New Road. Great to see so many young people about. We've got a group of youngsters who are in and around the dugout in front of us here. Stolvera goes deep in his crease and just scoops that down towards third man. No danger of a catch, just played softly. Trying to beat that man out on the boundary. Doesn't quite manage it. They'll take a single though. And it's that over a score draw for both sides, I think, really.
Yeah, 7 off the over. I think that's a good over from the bowling side's point of view. But at the same time, if you get 7 off the next 5, and you then sort of go into the last 5 or 6 needing, with only 2-3 wickets down, and perhaps looking at increasing that to 6-7 and over, then you're looking at a good score. You're looking at something that might be in excess of what we considered to be par last season here.
Change of ends for Chauhan then.
Dot ball to start the over.
D'Oliveira for his 42. He's looked very good, hasn't he? It was a bit up and down last year. Really good start to the campaign. This.
Another one to him here, driven off the back foot out to James Wharton. Fielding on the cover boundary, out in front of our commentary pod here at Visit Worcestershire New Road. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. Slightly extended from last year in terms of cameras and technical apparatus. Another single for Hose here. Good bowling from Chowan though at this stage.
Something that we know lots about, of course, Frank.
I'm just going to say, if you know, we do appreciate feedback. Obviously, people can get in touch with the club and so on. I'm on X, or what used to be Twitter, at Frank Watson 58, and we do appreciate feedback. And this is a dot ball, good from Chowan this over. But over the years, we've been compared to other counties, and some counties have been able to spend huge sums on their coverage and so on. And we're trying to do a decent job with fairly limited resources here. And if you're enjoying it, or if you think it could be improved, keep it clean, but let us know. D'Oliveira gets, he's going to get a couple this time, off the back foot, and it's Don Bess again running around from long off. So 2 more to D'Oliveira, but only 4 of the first 5 balls of the 10th over, and that would suggest, I think, that they'll be looking for a boundary off this last ball. We shall see. Chowan is in and bowls, and D'Oliveira, well, if he is looking for a boundary, he's not going to get one. He's only going to get a single. In fact, he's going to get 2 thanks to a misfield. Slapped it away with a sort of sweep in front of square. Should only have been a single, but a misfield out on the boundary on the very far side of the ground from, I think, Sutherland, and they get back for 2. So the end of the over, and Worcestershire are 95 for 2 at the halfway point. If they double that, they will be very pleased.
Yeah, laid a foundation, haven't they? Well, looks like we're going to see some more from Will Sutherland. Hose on strike. Worcestershire looking decent at the halfway stage. And looking for a big sweep there, but gets in a bit of a tangle. And we saw that he was effective with the bat. Will Sutherland played some club cricket in Essex, so he's spent summers in England before. It's actually interesting that the job that David Milan has to do with this Yorkshire side is that Hose waits again. Pulled away. Has it got enough on that to beat the 2 men? It's good fielding in the end. Luxton is there with help from Wharton. Really good boundary riding, good teamwork as well. And it looks like they enjoy themselves as well. 2 young Yorkshire players. But with Matt Mills, who isn't playing today, but he's struggled with injuries. And O'Rourke in his first campaign. So Hose looks for a little scoop there, and that might just beat the man. He will. Brilliant. That's a lovely shot. It's going to go for 4.
You know, we've been talking a fair bit, Jim, about modern cricket and modern batting, and that was I mean, perhaps the best exponent of it in the Worcestershire side is sitting right in front of us, Ethan Brooks, waiting to go in. But Adam Hose, as you said earlier, played franchise cricket all around the world. He's seen the very best at close quarters, and obviously he's learned a great deal, and that was really clever.
Pulled away this time, top edge, but it doesn't matter. That's going to go. It's gone for 4.
Pace again being exploited, isn't it?
Well, the man behind square on the leg side is very square, and it meant that although it was slightly miscued, he was in no danger of being caught. It was just a case of whether it was going to clear the rope or bounce just inside. It was 4 in the end, but Hose is in the mood. Short again. He almost looks like a tennis ball at smash, but he can't reach it convincingly, could he? Banged in from Sutherland. Pulled away again this time, sounded good off the bat. Beat the fielders in the deep. It's another boundary. Hose moving through the gears here. Well, I mentioned that this partnership was going to be important with
Sutherland 0 for 30 off 2. It's happening again, isn't it? And I don't just mean to him, I mean the seamers are proving easier to score off.
Well, I do think
particularly the quicker, the properly quick ones.
I think his instinct to bang it in short or to test the pitch, especially if you're used to harder, bouncier wickets down under. They just sit up here and they'll get whacked.
And Worcestershire's Dorcius and Duffy will be looking on with interest, I think, as Moriarty returns. Single off the first ball. Oliveira sweeping it, annoyed with himself they didn't get more on it and get it past that man at short fine. But 110 for 2. The base is laid for a decent total. It's a bit of an old-fashioned way of getting a score, this, isn't it? Building it rather more slowly than we've seen in recent days in power plays. No run this time.
Well, there is a feeling, isn't it, that you just go from ball one and everyone can bat. But I think with the Worcestershire lineup as it is, that as you mentioned, there's a lack of power hitting in that lower middle order. So this is perhaps the best approach for it.
Oh, that's a good shot from Hose. Got more of that. Just got inside it, down on one knee, sort of slog sweep behind square. Got it over the man at short fine and one bounce for 4. Well played. Looks in the mood.
Yeah, it's
Adam Hose.
A bit straight, wasn't it? Helped it on its way, but you're right, Frank. Foundations are there. Porter in 10 and over. Meant that as well, didn't he?
Didn't quite get hold of that one, but he gets another single. Yeah, we're talking about foundations. It's a bit like if you imagine building a house with your Lego bricks or something. Always in the 50 over game, it was, build slowly and then go more quickly as you get to the upper story. That's another good shot from D'Oliveira, but Dombes is quickly round and they only get one. Well fielded Dombes. Throw back in very quickly. And then as T20s come in and the shorter format has come in and power plays have come in, it's a case of get the first floor built as quickly as you possibly can, take a little bit more time over the bedrooms and then throw the roof on at the end. Today, a bit more traditional from the Worcestershire builders as Moriarty is in, and a bit of a slog from Hose this time, but he gets hold of it, only gets a single. That's a good over from Dan Moriarty at this stage, just 8 runs coming from it. They'd settle for that at this point. 117 for 2 at the end of 12.
Yeah, Saywags and the Jayasurias, were an anomaly, weren't they, 25 years ago? But it's part of that kind of Owen Morgan as England captain, as we're going to see the young leg spinner come back on again from the New Road End in just a moment. I really like him as a cricketer. What I really like about him as a leg spinner, actually, is he's got variation already at 22. He's got a good googly. Helps if you can learn from Adar Rashid. But that Owen Morgan England where psychologically we felt beaten. In comes Johan then. Cut away. There's cover there. Out on the boundary to just be a single.
Stephen Mann's been in touch on X at Frank Watson 58, at James F Dale, capital J, capital F, capital D. He says, with the discussion on what par score is, possibly this is a 200 plus track. Yeah, possibly. We'll have to wait and see. No run here for D'Oliveira. And he also says what Bairstow did a few years ago on one leg still gives me nightmares. Yeah, gives the park keeper in Cripplegate Park nightmares as well, Stephen, over the road, because the ball kept landing on the roof of his little hut, or at least as I imagine it to be.
D'Oliveira drives that out into the offside. He'll pick up a 50 as well. Thinks about a second. It'll only be a single, but it'll bring up a fantastic 50 for the Worcestershire skipper. And at the first game at Visit Worcestershire New Road, he's putting on a show.
But yeah, Johnny Bairstow, I think 10 sixes in that innings that Stephen Mann is talking about. It was remarkable ball striking. I've not seen much like it for a long time, and well, fortunately there aren't too many around like him. Well, that's a heck of a
away.
shot.
What a cracking shot that is, inside out, over extra cover. Again, just going to fall inside the boundary rope, but it's another 4 to Adam Hose. I think it was such an astonishing innings, Frank, that I was watching it and quietly weeping for a moment. But you kind of wanted to go
special,
on. It was so good that you didn't want it to end, and that's when you're witnessing someone super gifted. It was astonishing clean hitting.
It was brutal, absolutely brutal.
Oh, Hose has got tangled up a little bit there. It's just skewed away just behind square. Adam Lythe will do the fielding, so they'll take a single. It's a moral victory to the bowler. Haven't been many of those so far this afternoon. Worcestershire 123 for 2. D'Oliveira on 50, Hose on 40. But a very well constructed partnership this. In comes Chauhan again. And a flat batted down the ground. That's going to go too. A flat batted straight drive. He's timed the living daylights out of it. And it's been an expensive afternoon so far for the young leggy, going at 11s.
Yeah, which makes Stephen's point about whether this is a 200 pitch a valid one, I think, because I haven't seen a great deal of problem for the batsmen. Batsmen have been able to play shots. Moriarty turned a couple, but nothing extravagant. We haven't seen any variation in bounce either. I think the bounce appears to have been quite even. So
we've not seen a lot of seam, and in that we've not seen the ball pitched up and given a chance to move. And you see with the white ball, often you'll get a little bit of movement in those first few overs.
I think those first few overs
we saw with David Willey, didn't we? Of course, on Friday.
Moriarty is in again. He will be the first bowler to complete his stint of 4 as he sweeps this one Hose out to deep mid-wicket, and they come back for 2. So good work out on the boundary, but the scoreboard continues to tick over, and Worcestershire very nicely placed.
It's going to be a wide, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah, he's not happy, Moriarty. He's shown his displeasure at the umpire's decision, still continuing to grumble, but he felt that Hose had moved across.
Yeah, he's got a point. He has got a point, but dissent is not a thing. That shouldn't be a...
Moves across again this time, Hose, and drives off the back foot to extra cover for a single. They'll be wanting to find the boundary with quite a bit more regularity in these overs in sort of mid-teens. Moriarty bowls and D'Oliveira sweeps it again on the leg side, and this time he does find the boundary because he's bisected the 2 fielders out there. Revis unable to get round to it from his mid-wicket position. Fielder at deep backward square leg running to his left, diving and not getting to it, and 4 more to D'Oliveira. But I was going to say that there were several overs at Old Trafford in between sort of 12 and 16, 17 where they didn't find the boundary, and it just takes the momentum out of the innings. Whereas if you can just get one like D'Oliveira's just done there, pressure is off really in this over. Moriarty again, and D'Oliveira's gone for a switch hit this time. Not really got all of it, but he's got 2, and it almost skidded away for 4, but again, good work in the field, and it's flicked back just inside the rope. But 2 more, scoreboard ticking over nicely now for Worcestershire. 10 off this over so far, including the wide. Adam
Lyth again on the bare edge of fingertips, but
he's still a good fielder, isn't he, at 37 years old? Goodness me. D'Oliveira is missing out this time, sweeping down the leg side.
I think what's telling though on Thursday, Frank, is that when Kashif had gone, Hose had gone, D'Oliveira had gone, and Brooks was still in at that point, but those 4, you really feel like if Worcestershire are going to go big, they are going to get the lion's share of the runs. So false start from Moriarty there.
Phantom delivery. Possibly waiting to see what the batsman's going to do, I think. This one is pulled away by D'Oliveira. Revis this time is quickly round, and he makes a good sprawling stop, but not before they can get through for 2 more runs. So that is the end of the over. 14 gone, 12 off it, 140 for 2. Prediction time, Jim.
Well, I got 1 more over from Don Bess. Oh look, I think the score, it depends. What does Darren Milan do with Sutherland and O'Rourke, the 2 Antipodean seamers? If they keep putting it in the same places they have been, it's going to be an expensive afternoon for them. I'm going to say, I'm going to go positive. I'll go 205.
Okay. Well, O'Rourke is returning. You'd have to say they'll be disappointed if they don't get 200 now. I would say 10 and over off the last 6. You've got 8 wickets in hand. You've got to be looking at that.
It depends who's at the crease in the last 2.5 overs or so.
Ethan Brooks got a good chance of getting some runs. Yeah. Going to be back with 2 bats. Look,
shadow batting with 2 bats in hand. Is there a thing behind that? I'm going to go to Coach Frank Watson here. Is that just trying to make sure you don't grip the bat too hard?
I'm not sure why he's doing it. O'Rourke bowls and Hose tries the scoop, misses it. I've heard of people practicing in the winter with a weight attached to the back of the bat to just sort of work on strengthening the wrists, particularly. It could be that. It could be something along those lines. But well, I have to ask him afterwards why. But he's actually out there just swinging 2 bats at the same time. And maybe, you know, when you then get out there and you've only got 1 bat,
feels
your hand speed is quicker because you're used to working with 2. Single for Hose here. He clips a full delivery out to mid-wicket where Wharton is the fielder. The other thing is, if you don't get 200 now, is, you know, you look and you think, well, we had one of our most skillful manipulators of the ball in Ethan Brooks sat at the side. Ben Dorsh's just going to put his pads on. Is he going to be promoted ahead of Brooks, perhaps, to try and go big?
I don't like that as a plan, I'll say that.
Tennis shot from D'Oliveira. That's it.
That's gone all the way as well.
A forehand smash over extra cover. There's no other way of describing it. It would have been called out at Wimbledon because it sailed away, but extraordinary shot. Well, it would have been called extraordinary a few years ago. Now I guess we'd say that it's not that extraordinary at all, but beautifully executed, short and wide from O'Rourke, and D'Oliveira on his toes and just...
That's it. You mean you can't play the overhead smash on the walk down the wicket to a test cricketer?
Yeah. O'Rourke in again. Oh, good response. Probably haven't seen enough of those from him today. A Yorker, proper Yorker, and D'Oliveira upended by it. It missed the stumps, but that would be, if I had a criticism, and it's easy from here, and I haven't got to face up to O'Rourke's 95 miles an hour, potentially 95 miles an hour pace, but if I had a criticism, it has been that he and Sutherland, they've just tended to bowl it in the slot, as we would call it, sort of on a length, and hittable. Not perhaps varied it enough. in terms of length and pace. Cut this time by D'Oliveira. Revis the fielder out on the cover boundary, just a single.
Well, that's right. We haven't seen many Yorkers, and we would again, Frank, was something that you were talking about earlier on about slower ball and changes of pace.
Yeah.
Is it an experience thing? Is it an ego thing? Who knows? But at the same time,
it's probably a plan. They've decided that they just want to try and hit the top of off still. That's another Yorker, interestingly, but played nicely by Hose, and he gets a single. And again, good fielding. But end of another reasonably productive over. 9 coming from it. 5 left, 149 for 2. Certainly, I would say 200 would be the minimum that they would hope for. And with who knows, a couple of big overs, you might even get beyond that. And I think if you'd have offered them 200 before play began, they'd probably have accepted it.
Oh yeah, for context, because we play a lot of cricket here in New Road, of course. Since we won the Blast, the amount of times Worcestershire have actually made more than 200, just 5 times. Yorkshire in that same period of time have done it 17.
But playing at Headingley.
Yes, well, I guess they're going to say that the context being is where you play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not about Yorkshire, one of 4 sides actually to never win the T20 Blast, so it's not about scoring big, but you have to. Sometimes a team will ask you to do it, and it's whether you can, or can determine how deep you go in the competition. That's gone. 6 more. Flat trajectory, but there was never in doubt that was clearing the boundary. And Adam Hose has crunched that on his way to a fantastic 50. Took the same amount of time as his skipper, in fact, 33 balls. Cut away this time, aerially, and it's picked up by Wharton.
It's a good fielder, Wharton, isn't he? Good mover. He's got that quick, sort of old-fashioned underarm little flick throw.
Slingy, and you can do it on the run, can't you? Which is ideal for a boundary rider. Got plenty of height to him as well. Pushed through quicker this time, and well fielded off his own bowler, and it's a much-needed dot ball. Of course, we don't quite know how good this deck is. It's often quite difficult to tell at New Road, so it could just be nowhere. There's nowhere the bowlers can bowl. It could just be an absolute road, couldn't it? Johannin, and a bit too short. Cut away in front of square on the offside. 4 more. Into the hospitality tents. Watch your beers. And,
yeah, that was a poor delivery, wasn't it? It's just proper dragged down on that one, and it happens to leg spinners, especially young ones. But you've got to put it away, and that's what they've done. They have generally throughout this innings, the bad ball has travelled.
There's been a lot in front of square though as well, which suggests that the ball's sitting up. From seamer and spinners, Harry Duke and David Milana just directing a bit of traffic here, and it is the skipper that's going to go in at cover point, and the boundary rider goes out to extra. Short and then pulled away.
6.
That's going to go as well. You called it early, Frank, and you were spot on. 6 more.
No, 4. Just dropped short.
Is it?
Maybe just got under it a little bit more than we thought. I have to say,
White ball and the white tarpaulin.
In our defence, viewer, we are a long, long way away on the other side of the field from where that ball's travelling to. So difficult, but it runs coming thick and fast now, just as you would expect.
Pulled away again. Swept essentially in front of square. Looking for 2, they'll get 1. But that will conclude what has been a really tricky afternoon actually for the young spinner. And bowled beautifully here last year, took 4 for 30.
Yeah, well, not so good this time. 4 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 49 for Jaffa Chauhan. But before we get too excited, if you're a Worcestershire supporter, just bear in mind that Yorkshire have got Adam Lyth, Dawud Malan, James Wharton, to name but 3 in their side. They've also got Harry Duke, who's an exciting young player, and Will Sutherland, who on Friday hit 6 sixes in his innings of 58, so they will need a decent score on the board. Here he is with the ball in hand, and immediately going very full, which is, as we were saying, not something that the seamers have done a great deal, and just squeezed out for a single. So,
well, he comes with pedigree, Sutherland. He's played a couple of ODIs for Australia against the West Indies.
Regular for the Melbourne Renegades, I think, in the Big Bash. But as you say, pitch is a bit different, aren't they? In the southern hemisphere. He's in now, and that's a sort of scooping sweep from Hose. Can't describe it any other way, really. It was a sweep, but he's got right underneath it with the intention of lifting it over the man at short fine leg. Didn't quite get it out of the middle.
Just calling one short there.
Oh, really? Yeah, one short. You don't see that very often. Adam Hose won't be very pleased with that. He's kept the strike, but one short. Umpire turning his hand up, touching his shoulder.
I don't think I've seen that in the professional
I've
game
seen
before.
it for a long time. I've seen it before, but not for a long time. And well done to the umpire for looking for it, because there's probably quite a lot more than get given, because they don't look. But there was a phase, wasn't there, where players got in trouble for doing it on purpose, just so that they could keep the strike. Umpires were quite hard on that. I don't think for a minute that Adam Hose did it on purpose. Sutherland in, bowls, and well, a bit of pace this time, because Hose is almost beaten for pace, really, looking to pull that, and it was on him a bit quicker than he thought, and instead of going to mid-wicket, it's ended up going up to mid-on. Always a sign that the ball's kind of hit the bat a little bit more quickly than the batter expected it to, but he gets a single. Good start to the over, though, from Sutherland. Gone for 33 so far, but only 3 in this over. 2 men up at third man, short fine. And Oliveira has sliced this one up in the air and is caught brilliantly by the fielder running back from extra cover. I'll identify him for you in a minute. I think it is Dawud Malan. Superb catch. Running back from extra cover, the ball dropping over his shoulder as Oliveira tried to go big down the ground. Superb catch by Malan. But an excellent innings from Brett Oliveira. 79 off 48 deliveries. And he has been the cornerstone of this innings, and that partnership with Adam Hose was worth 117 for that third wicket.
Well, you called it, Frank. As Ben Dwarshus has made his way out to the middle. So I think we know what the intent is going to be here from the new man in. Brooks still in the dugout, and it's been a really good over from Will Sutherland. I think it's important to note as well with the likes of O'Rourke and Sutherland, the more they play on wickets in T20 Blast, the more they'll adapt and develop.
But yeah, what fantastic partnership. 117 for that third wicket in the space of 11 overs. That's pretty good going. And what Worcestershire need now, just to complete the day from their point of view, is a couple of really big overs right at the end with wickets in hand. Dwarshus is
guided
off the mark to his first delivery with a very deft little clip down to fine leg, so he's maybe come in with the intention of swinging those big beefy shoulders and whacking it over the rope, but Sutherland bowling full and quick at him, and he's just walked inside it and flicked it down to fine leg for 4. Nice start for Dorcas, 172 for 3, 1 ball left.
Yeah, just strays in line as the left-hander comes to the wicket, and just had to beat that man in the ring, didn't he? It was a death touch indeed.
Man gone back at long on now, and third man on the edge as well, and Dorcas has scooped this one away on the leg side and picked out the man at deep backward square, and he takes a single, which means he'll keep the strike, and Worcestershire poised now for a big launch in the last 3 overs. 8 coming off that one, 173 for 2. Haven't had a massive over, have they? They've had a 17, a 16, a 14, another 16. Nothing over 20. But well placed. You said 200?
202. I went for 205.
Yeah.
Are we going to see? I was going to say, is it, we're probably going to see Dom Best now, and then a couple of overs of Seam. We'll see. But I have to say, I really do like Dom Best as a cricketer. Brought up to Yorkshire, I think, and under Joe Root, wasn't it, when he was England captain?
He made 100 against Worcestershire in the championship up there this year. Came in as night watchman and made 100.
And he comes now from the Douglas end. Dorcas on strike and played straight. And Best will be disappointed not to stop that, but it'll be a single nonetheless. Very correct-looking cricket shot. And Dorcas is his batting has developed a lot in the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, compared to his striking ability, he can always hit a long ball, but technically looks a lot more sound. It feels like he's picked up a couple of shots that he trusts. An altogether better prospect than his first stint in Worcestershire with the bat. As Best having a chat with the umpire there, possibly about the ball. Hose on strike then. And he's launched that down the ground. Has he got enough on it? There's a man out there. It looks like he's going to be taken, and is. It's a good grab. So the intention is to stay aggressive. And Adam Hose is caught, attempting a lofted straight drive for 6. So the 2 set batsmen are back in the hutch. Dom Best strikes again. But it's a fantastic knock from Adam Hose. He's put his side in a really good position here, and he gets a very warm round of applause from the thousands of fans that are in the Visit Worcestershire New Road Stadium this afternoon. And the sun is out as well. Brooks makes his way out to the middle to join Ben Dorcas. 174 for 4 the score. In comes Dom Bess again and looks for the reverse straight away. Big shout, umpire unmoved though. Good glove work from Harry Jukes, good talented young cricketer. Played a really good hand for his side actually when they were in real trouble on Friday night. And drilled down the ground, that's a lovely shot. 4 more, just a little shimmy. Past Adam live. He was a real shining light of the T20 Blast campaign last season, Ethan Brooks. Multi-talented cricketer. Pulls that, and that's going to probably find its way to the boundary, is it? There's a desperate dive, he's not going to get there. Back-to-back boundaries for Brooks. Dragged that one down, did Dom Bess. He just helped it round the corner. So a bit of impetus restored. How can Bess reply? Fires this one in, and Jukes has lost that one. Ballooned over his head, but no matter. Chauhan was there to complete the fielding as Dom Bess finishes out a successful over.
Good pace. Go. I mean, why haven't they gone fuller? It's just, it has definitely been much more difficult, it would appear, for the batters when they've gone full. Harry Duke just moves up to the stumps to judge the angle that they want the third man to be at. He decides it's okay. He's on the rope, of course. O'Rourke, it's a big over this. In again to Dorshus. Beats him again outside the off stump. 2 dots at the start of the 19th over. Very, very precious from a Yorkshire point of view. Good bowling from O'Rourke. And brave captaincy, I think, to bring him back at this point. But then he's got a few options, I suppose. Revis only bowled 1. But the extra pace preferred. Dorshus gets a bat on this one, but he'll only get 2, and that just good fielding by Wharton. Ran round to his left, got that underarm flick throw away very quickly, and Ethan Brooks had to dive to get in.
Well, they look to try and release the ball as early as you can out in the field, just to deter the second run. But they were going anyway, I think.
Yeah, I think so. As soon as he hit it. Had to be. But only 2 off the first 3 balls of the 19th over. That, however, is going to go for 4. Because despite Harry Duke's careful placement of the man at wide third man, Dorshus gets enough bat on it to mean that even though it was only about 10-15 yards to his right, it flew. The pace of the bowler used. So 6 coming off those 2 deliveries. And Worcestershire now threatening that 200. Jim's 205 looking a really good call at this stage. O'Rourke over the wicket. Dorshus gives himself room, gets inside it, and he's smashed that away on the leg side, and he really has shown what he was sent in to do. It's taken a while, but he's finally got those big beefy forearms through that one, and he's heaved it away over mid-wicket for 6. So 12 off the over so far, 194 for 4, 1 ball left in the 19th. Certainly 200 beckons. And as Jim Dale was saying earlier, Worcestershire don't pass 200 very often in T20 cricket. Well, they haven't in recent years. Dorshus drives through extra. Wharton is again the fielder, this time a more comfortable 2. Again, a super bit of work. He's just run round, picked it up and decided, oh, I'll just throw it to the keeper this time. Just a flick. It's just superb. It's just the modern cricketer in many ways.
Excellent standard, isn't it?
Absolutely. End of the over, 196 for 4. So 14 coming from it, despite those 2 dots at the beginning. And 1 over left.
Well, I think it's a bit of bad luck with that edge from O'Rourke, but he went back to his natural length, didn't he? When the full stuff was working, and again, it's interesting to.
So Sutherland will finish off, not Don Bess at the Diglis end.
Well, a lot of this game will be determined by how well Worcestershire's Australian and Kiwi seamers fare in this, and they'll want to get the better of their counterparts in the Yorkshire side. 1 over to go then, 196 for 4 the score. Lots of consideration about field placings again as David Malan. What a talent. A fabulous one-day cricketer he was for England, among many other things, of course. That's that man, James Wharton. A brilliant 100 against Worcestershire at Headingley a couple of years ago. It's just in front of us, prowling the boundary, and he's picked that up, going into the leg side. It's going to go out to the man on 1 bounce, and it's Matty Revis. Good fielding. Just the 1. But as you'd expect, the intent is there. So, a big hitter and a master manipulator in at the wicket for Worcestershire. Just taking a moment to survey. Sutherland at the top of his run. Dwarshuis on strike. Deep in his crease, he digs out a good Yorker as well. Push down the ground, they'll look for 2. Brooks is quick, but not that quick, so he sends his teammate back. Good start to this final over. Just singles from it. So with Brooks on strike, mid-off comes up into the circle, mid-on goes back. In comes Sutherland. And straight through Brooks. This is a really good start to the final over. Momentum so important as well in this, and you feel like if they can get out with a really neat and tidy over here, the way this Yorkshire side batted on Friday night, they won't be frightened of any total, I don't think, to make such a game of it as they did, despite the best efforts of David Willey, particularly for the Steelbacks. More consultation before Will Sutherland comes in again. Crack down the ground. Mid-on's interested. Will he take a catch?
Oh!
Has he caught that?
What a catch. What a catch.
He has. Goodness me. On the run, diving forward as well. Well, the dangerous Ethan Brooks asked it apart. And in no short part, thanks to some fantastic fielding.
Luxton, what a catch.
Another young, talented cricketer from within the county.
He attacked it, it was dying on him. He dived forward, he caught it, and then he didn't even celebrate. He just rolled it back in. It was just brilliant work. Absolutely
just do
brilliant.
It every day.
Just brilliant work. What a good last over.
I mean, it's. I would have been doing a couple of laps of the outfield with that one, Frank, I'll be honest, but he was as nonchalant as you like, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Penultimate ball then, in comes Sutherland. And that's going to be a wide. That'll be frustrating for the Aussie all-rounder. You don't want to give anything away at all here. As Worcestershire now creep towards that 200 total. 199 for 5 the score. 2 legal deliveries to come. Gareth Roderick. Ever omnipresent Gareth Roderick. On strike, goes deep in his crease. Just bunts that into the leg side. Is there 2 there? They'll think about it. They decide no. Brings the 200 up though. As the applause rings round Visit Worcestershire New Road. And the Seagulls circle. Last ball of the innings then. Worcestershire find that magical 200 number. Will Sutherland on his way into Ben Dwarshuis, who's played a good hand for his side here. It's a full ball wrapped on the pads. They'll take a single and that will conclude things. So having been put into bat here, Worcestershire have amassed 201 for 5, Frank. And you've got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think they will feel slightly disappointed that they didn't profit more off that last over. But if you, as I said, if you had offered them 201 for 5 at the beginning, I think they'd have accepted it. Really good last over, just 5 runs coming from it. So actually, believe it or not, that was the cheapest over of the entire innings, that last over. Don't often see that very often.
That can't happen much, Frank. No, that's incredible stuff.
Extraordinary. But yeah, 201 for 5. They'd have settled for that at the beginning, I think. Excellent from D'Oliveira, 79 from 48 balls. Excellent from Hose, 54 from 37 balls. Key partnership between them. Decent bowling, particularly at the end, I thought, from the Yorkshire seamers. But Dom Bess, certainly probably the pick of the bowlers. Did only bowl 3 overs, but 2 for 25 for him. Thought they were good in the field, Yorkshire, and we reserve judgment, of course, as always, as we're entitled to do on the surface until we've seen both sides bowled on it. But it's a good competitive target, and I think probably Yorkshire will feel they've got a real chance. Worcestershire will feel that they've also got given themselves a real good opportunity, and we can't ask for more than that, a balanced contest at this stage.
You're absolutely right, Frank, and Yorkshire won't fear chasing 201. They made 224 on Friday, and they were 3 down in the first over, so they'll come at this fearlessly with a talented young batting lineup as well. We'll see how they get on after the interval in about 8 minutes' time.
I started struggling with my mental health when I was around 13. I kind of hit crisis point quite quickly with OCD and anxiety. When COVID hit, I really hit a hard patch and a real big battle with my OCD, and I struggled to leave the house. I struggled to get out of bed sometimes. I had this massive guilt, and I kind of gave up on trying to fight the anxiety and the battle with my head at that point. I didn't really want to live anymore. My mum realised and my dad realised that I needed more support that they couldn't offer. After a couple of months, there was one Saturday where I spoke to my counsellor, and then I walked out the room and I felt like a weight had been lifted. For the first time in a few months, I had a spring back in my step. I got into campaigning because I'd love for mental health to be talked about in the same way that physical health is talked about. I want to show through my resilience and me sharing my story that whatever happens, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very proud to be from Worcestershire, and I'd love to be able to get to a place where I can help other young people who struggle to use that experience for good.
Yeah.
Are you backing that?
He's no good. He's not the best.
Who is the best?
Dolly's quite good.
Oh yeah. You got to say that, Skip. Yeah. Be nice.
Gabbers.
Biggest teacher's pet during training or during the week?
Henry Cullen.
Oh yeah.
Teacher's pet. Just because he'll hate it, I reckon. Libs. Yeah, he'll hate that chat.
Best or worst fashion sense?
Oh God, how long have you got?
The worst, probably Gareth Roderick. I think you're up there for the worst as well, but
I feel he'll take that personally.
No, I'm so worst. Jack Home. He's had the same shoes since he was about probably the last 5 years. By the looks of it, they're just these
corduroy
Reeboks, black Reeboks that somehow his shoelaces are inside out as well. But he'd have the worst clubber. Hosie's quite nice.
Matthew Waite, best dress.
Yeah.
There's quite a few nominations.
Richard Jones.
These are all bad ones, there.
No, Richard Jones is a good clubber.
Oh, yeah.
For an older fella.
Brooks is down there for one of the worst dressed as well.
Is he? I think he'd get upset about that as well.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He'd hate that chat.
Who are you trusting with the playlist? Car, match day, wherever it would be. Who's got a decent playlist?
Definitely not you.
Yeah, fair. I'll tell you.
What's your genre? What's your go-to?
Mixture of everything.
Nothing. Mixture of everything, but nothing that seems to.
Splits opinion.
Yeah.
Waity.
Yeah, Waity. Waity, Rob Jones' pig.
Westlife.
Yeah, loves Westlife.
T20 player you love to watch growing up?
Sean Tate.
Great answer. Streets won't forget kind of player. Isn't
Yeah.
Yeah. Being an Essex boy, I would probably say Ravi.
Yeah.
Ravi Opara. I think T20 records is unbelievable, so he was always good to watch.
Night in or night out?
Night in for me.
Yeah.
Night in.
Too old.
You lads past the curve, eh? Kit bag essential on a match day.
Playing kit you on about, or
just kit?
Anything
playing
in
kit
your
could
kit.
be something that we wouldn't normally think about.
Hairbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably chest guard and arm guard.
Chewing gum.
Chewing gum, yeah.
Last question. Pineapple on pizza, yeah or no?
No.
Yeah, I can get behind.
Well, welcome back to Visit Worcestershire New Road. I'm Jim Dale. Frank Watson will join us shortly. I think he's still dealing with a large queue of autograph hunters He's like royalty round here, just doing official waves and people queue up. It's a wonderful and beautiful thing to see. And what we are going to see is Ben Dwarshuis come in from the Diglis end for Worcestershire. That's carved away out to the offside. There's a man out there. And good running as well to grab a couple. The Yorkshire openers, Adam Lyth and Dawid Malan, experienced ex-England internationals. And we'll see what the approach is here for the Worcestershire opening bowlers, whether they go a little bit fuller and try and get that white ball to swing a little bit, get a bit of movement. But Lyth's on strike and Dwarshuis is on his way in. It's a good length as well. It's soft hands though, edge down towards third man. It might just beat the man, and it does. It's the first boundary of this chase. As Yorkshire look to complete a run chase over 200. And Frankie's back. Good to have you.
Delayed by the boss, I'm afraid. I was kidnapped by Joe Troman's, Worcestershire's head of commercial, and that explains my tardiness.
In comes Dwarshuis again then. A big swipe there. But all he got was fresh air. Did Adam Lyth.
You were probably calling me lack of professional.
No, I was no, not at all. Not at all, Frank. I was just saying that you were probably doing the royal wave and signing some autographs. It's very difficult for Frank to go from the media box to our little pod here.
Don't be silly.
Without being stopped.
I was being informed as usual.
In comes Dwarshuis then. Let's push the batter back. And there's no run, a valuable dot ball.
General feel, I thought, in the press box, etc., during the interval, speaking to members of the media from both sides, that what we'd said, Jim, was about right. Was both sides would have been reasonably happy with it. Yorkshire may be thinking it was a little bit above par, but not out of reach.
What they won't be happy with is it's raining here now. As Lyth goes on the charge, that's a lovely shot. It finds its way to the boundary. Drilled past Jacob Duffy. And what a good cricketer Adam Lyth is as well. It's multi-format player. He's fashioned himself into a really top-end white ball cricketer, but I'm afraid we've got some bad news for you as the covers are starting to get ready. The rain is coming down a little bit heavier. We will play on.
I don't think it'll be much with it.
The men in the hoodies and the shorts, which is basically the uniform for all ground staff up and down the country, are readying themselves. In comes Dwarshuis again, and this time fuller from the Aussie paceman, and it will close out the over, but very much on brand. 10 off the over, which is pretty much the asking rate.
Yeah, good start, I thought, by Adam Lyth. That one shot in particular, beautifully played over extra cover. And as we have seen pretty much throughout this competition, the new ball in the hand of the seamer tending to travel. And 10 off that first over is a good start.
Well, it'll be a test of control here as well, I think, because it's not just a light shower, it's properly raining, and now the umpires are having a chat. Understandably so, and we are going to make way here, Frank.
Yep. It's a squall, isn't it? I think you'd call it, wouldn't you? It's a sort of heavy, strong breeze and sort of heavy-ish rain, but it doesn't look as though it'll be much. Sent the crowd running for cover as well. Wasn't expecting this, Jim.
Well, there was a possibility of the odd shower, but it's come quite thick, quite fast. I think squall is the right word, Frank. Slate grey skies above us as the seagulls look for spare chips knocking about in the food village we've had here. As part of our first home game of the season, I venture that as soon as we all pile off the park, that it will all calm down again.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a short-lived stoppage, but a stoppage nonetheless. So what we will do for the time being is Frank and I will consider a cup of tea. The umpires, along with the players, are making their way back into the pavilion. But hopefully we shall be back underway and with you sooner rather than later. Well, welcome back to Visit Worcestershire New Road. We told you it wouldn't be long, and it's not often we're right, but we will be in this occasion. So the ground staff have done their work. They responded pretty quickly. The players are on their way back out, and we will get the full 20 overs in. Don't you worry about that. 10 for no loss after 1 over. That's Yorkshire's score as Adam Lyth and David Milan make their way back out to the middle. They've already done better than they did first up on Friday. 3 wickets they lost, Frank, in the first over on Friday. No small part thanks to some excellent opening bowling from David Willey, left armour, also a former international. He got the ball right up there, gave it a chance to swing, and he got a little bit of movement. Accounted for Milan, and then Luxton first ball. But it will be Jacob Duffy, Worcestershire's overseas seamer from New Zealand, with ball in hand from the New Road end to get us back underway.
Statistically, we were told the best T20 bowler in the world coming into the competition. Didn't bother the Lancashire batters, who took him for 27 in his 3 overs at Old Trafford on Thursday. And such things are always to be taken with a pinch of salt. Such labels, I think. But he comes in now to bowl to Milan, and that's down the leg side, and a wide is signalled by umpire Russell Warren. So the score goes up to 11 without loss. The target is 202. Always remember when Worcestershire went down to Somerset 2 or 3 years ago, and we were told, as Milan plays and misses at this one, we were told that Babar Azam was the top T20 batsman in the world, and got the big build up, and then I think he was out to the first ball of the innings. So, as I say, such labels are not really worth much.
Well, those numbers, they
they fluctuate daily as well.
When you travel, certainly, as Duffy tries to figure out the best way to bowl.
Well, that's the best way to bowl. Knock out the off stump. That'll do very nicely for Jacob Duffy, and that is a big, big wicket. David Milan has gone without scoring, and Yorkshire are 11 for 1.
Well, it was a fuller delivery, wasn't it? And the reference, of course, was that
not a very good shot.
Just try to find the best way to bowl, best plans to make as you play T20 cricket in a new country. But it's been an inauspicious start to the T20 blast for the Yorkshire skipper, who makes his way back to the pavilion. Just 4 on Friday night.
Well, he's played across it, hasn't he, as well? Yeah, looking to whack it over mid-wicket.
Just wasn't there,
and it's
though,
hit
was
off
it?
stump. It tells you everything, really. So good start for Jacob Duffy, who, I don't know if you know this, Jim, but he is the #1 T20 bowler in the world.
Well, I suspected as much. Isn't he fantastic? We are here for expert analysis.
Luxton, the new batsman, the first right-hander of the innings. And a little bit of a ways movement for Duffy there, stroked beautifully into the covers by Luxton, but no run, good bit of fielding. Just a little bit of shape away from the right-hander, that one. And you do get that, as you said earlier, Jim, just early on in the first 5-6 overs, can get these white balls to swing a little bit.
Yeah, got to be confident enough to push the ball up there, and you might go for a few for your trouble, but there are wickets to be had.
And that's why there's a slip in as he bowls. This one is not swinging. Takes Luxton on the pad and runs away on the leg side. And through they go for a leg bye.
Ed Pollock was in there.
$12 for 1. The rain has disappeared for the moment. It's a bit overcast, a bit chilly.
Home from home for a New Zealand seamer.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially one from the South Island. That's Duffy in bowls, and this one is cut by Milan, but he sends back his partner as Fateh Singh makes a good stop at backward point. 12 for 1 dot ball, good over so far.
Well, you've played out in New Zealand, haven't you?
Yeah, in the North Island.
Yeah.
I played in New Plymouth and in a bit in Auckland, and didn't go to the South Island, but yeah, wonderful country, loved it. Duffy in again, bowls, and this is nicely played by Lyth. He's timed that absolutely superb. Just a little flick, really. Uppish to start with, but between the bowler and mid-on, raced away. Looks in good touch, Adam Lyth. Got runs against Worcestershire in the Championship up at Headingley, and belying his veteran status, really. He's very fit, very good in the field, as we saw earlier today, and made a good start here. He's 14 off 8, 2 overs gone at 16 for 1.
Well, much like Yorkshire, Worcestershire make an early breakthrough. So we'll get our first look then at Adam Finch. Tall seamer, he's got a good Yorker on him as well. And he comes, and that's short, and it's pulled away. Has he got enough on that to go for 6? Has he caught that? He has.
He's
What a
caught
grab
it.
that is, goodness
Tom
me.
Henley, I think. Amazing catch.
Well, Adam Finch,
Tom Henley.
he tested out the middle of the pitch. And if you bowl short at New Road, more often than not, it gets treated. But Luxton just treated Tom Henley to catching practice. What a great grab. We've seen some good fielding. On the run, the body control as well, right by the boundary rope. And 1 becomes 2. So Adam Finch with the first ball of his spell back at New Road picks up a wicket. Well, Luxton, rather like Milan, not a great start to this T20 blast. Just 1 to his name, but it brings James Wharton to the wicket. And
you mentioned that 100 Wharton got at Headingley 2 years ago. Had the night of his life, really. Played absolutely magnificently, but he was missed twice early on, and he made Worcestershire pay. He's a much more mature cricketer now than he was then.
Here comes Finch, and that's punched down the ground, fielded off his own bowling with
help from Adam Lyth.
Yeah, well, there was a time where if batsmen started picking up the ball and tossing it to the fielders, that would not have gone down well with certain fielding sides.
That was a superb shot, for your first ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, use the depth of the crease. Technically very sound. But he can play every kind of innings, James Wharton, when it comes to white ball cricket.
Wide stance, as we can see very clearly from here.
Watchful that as they pick up an easy single. Jacob Duffy will do the fielding. And we have seen before, I mean, when you're 2 down this early, do have to be a little bit more circumspect. But again, what we saw on Friday night, Frank, if they've got a plethora of young, talented cricketers that can clear the ropes. But I think with
Duke, I thought on Friday played particularly well, didn't he?
Well, a range of shots, particularly leg side, that is finishing again. And Lyth tries to offer a bat at that. It was a bit of a dab, really.
Didn't bounce a lot, did it?
It was taken low by Roderick. Yeah, really clean hitting, wasn't he, young Duke? And anything that strayed onto his pads, just a lovely flow of the bat that from square leg to wide mid-on, he just picked up and it sailed. Finch to Lyth, and he just guides that down to the man. Fateh Singh's got a chance to throw down the stumps. Decides against it though, pretty much straight at the former Nottinghamshire spinner. But the call came early from Wharton, so a single they had. But as starts go, Frank, Worcestershire will be very happy with this. Pressure of wickets important.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 in the power play is always the target, I think.
Finch then to close out his over. And D'Oliveira is in to do a bit of fielding, so they won't get anything for that. Valuable dot ball, a successful over from Adam Finch. As we spot a familiar face in the crowd, Frank.
Yeah, only just managed to get into the car park apparently. Stopped on his way in today, and Stewart didn't recognise him. We're talking about Joe Leach, the former Worcestershire captain, seam bowler. Stewart didn't recognise him and wouldn't let him in initially.
469 first-class wickets, untold successes in other forms of cricket as well. But what have you done for me lately? But good to have Joe Leach here.
18 for 2 as we start the 4th over, and the in-form Adam Lythe cracks the first ball away through mid-wicket for 4. He's not perturbed by this start, and it becomes 22 for 2. Lythe moves to 19, and a bit of pressure is relieved after that excellent Adam Finch over had only gone for 2, and he'd also picked up a wicket. Lythe deep in the crease, cuts this next one from Duffy out to deep backward point. Brooks fields another single. Lythe nicely moved on to 20. Looks in good touch, Adam Lythe. As I say, just you know, players carry on these days, don't they? Jimmy Anderson, the most obvious example, but Adam Lythe's kept himself in very, very good shape in terms of fitness.
Done for pace there, I think, Frank.
Well, it would have gone a long way if he'd have hit it, I think, James Wharton, but missed it by quite a long way, I think. He is quick, Duffy. Just get a little bit of shape away from the right-handers. But perhaps in the T20 campaign so far, and it's early days, not quite had the control of length that he would really like. Wharton gets a bat on this one, driving up to long on. Good stop by Singh, and they take a single. James Wharton in that stance, as I mentioned, stands with his feet really wide apart, bat down in the middle of them, and then there's a sort of movement of his back foot back even further as a trigger, and it then puts him into that really wide footed position that means that you can play forward or back, and all you've got to do really is just shift your weight onto one foot or the other. Duffy to Lythe, this one heaved away on the leg side, no catching that one unless you're in row 10, and that's gone all the way. So Duffy is proving expensive again in the slot. The length is what gave the batter the opportunity to whack it away, and whack it away he did. He's looking in great touch and he's going to be a key man. 26 now to him, 30 for 2. And I was just talking about that stance finally. It reminds me of what I remember hearing about Graham Pollock, the great South African left-hander, that at the end of his career took up that position with his feet really wide apart and basically didn't move his feet other than just to go on to one or the other, and stood there and was able to cope with anything that came along from a quick bowler. Obviously not going to do that against spinners, but there are different ways of simplifying the game, and one of the best ways is to do what Adam Lythe just did, just smack it out of the ground. And then just tuck it away for a single and keep the strike.
Well,
that was yeah. I mean, it's slow ball, but it was almost as that. It's the opposite of what I was saying about Ed Pollock before. In a way, it's just, you know, you hit a 6 and you think, well, there's one ball left. I tell you what, I'm just going to rein it in here and make sure I keep the strike. And he did exactly that. 31 for 2 at the end of the 4th.
Chasing north of 200, albeit only just north of 200. It's staying in the game, isn't it? And Live also very good at picking length, but in that slightly different fashion. He doesn't have that big gate as you were mentioning about James Wharton. But a man who knows his game inside out. I think he's been playing the best cricket of his career in the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
As Finch comes in again. And that's picked up. It's a length ball. Well, it's just full of a length, in fact. It's just drilled back down the ground. Almost dismissive from Live. Just swung through the line of the ball. No problem at all. Have another boundary. He looks absolutely on his game here.
He played that shot with the assurance of a man who would say, I could do that 10 times out of 10, I think. Not 9, not 8. Just bowl it there. Just effortless.
Can Finch respond? And Live looking to uppercut. That's too close to cut. He's frustrated with himself there. He's just trying to scoop that over the man on the 45 on the offside. But a man with plenty of determination about him. It's going to be one of the Yorkshire top order to fire. Good battle this between Finch and Adam Live. Full of ball, good Yorker, well dug out there. There's a chance for 2 here if they're quick. As Ethan Brooks is good across the ground, but they get there comfortably. It's good cricket. Good cricket all round, really. With Worcestershire generally, I think, trying to bowl slightly fuller than the Yorkshire seamers, and we have seen exclusively seam so far in the power play. I suspect that might well continue. 4.5 overs in to the fielding restrictions part of this innings. Again, it's Finch to Live. Dropped into the offside, look for a quick single. Bit of football.
That's
Is it there?
That's
and he's
out.
gone.
Yeah. Good
and Adam
football.
Live involved in another run out.
With the same partner, actually.
It's all just a little bit of history repeating. Yorkshire 3 down. Wharton looks crestfallen. Live can't believe it, but got to the ball quickly. And how are your football skills? Adam Finch, they're just fine. On target for Worcestershire, 3 down now.
Yeah, the other night, the 2 same batsmen were involved in a run out. On that occasion, it was Lythe that was run out and Wharton that survived. This time, it's Wharton that's run out and Lythe survives. It never looked on, that single. I thought Adam Finch always looked favourite to me. And the big Wolves fan slotted it into the bottom corner, didn't he? Mateus Cunha style. And the third wicket is down 37 for 3. Lythe now becomes even more important, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Plenty of batting still there. Duke has come out, but 3 of the top 5 gone. Milan for naught. Lythe now is under real pressure. He's got 33 of the 37 on the board. Good start for Worcestershire.
Astonishing stat. He's got 33 from the first 37. Adam Finch, he's got good feet for a big lad, Frank.
He has, yeah, he has. He did well. He just kept his calm, didn't he? I think if he'd have bent down and rolled it, it probably might have taken that microsecond longer and he wouldn't have done it, but slotted it beautifully.
Finch then into Duke. And just run down to third man. It's gone fine. Will Fatih Singh get there?
Oh,
he
great
will.
Fielding.
Good fielding. A good throw in as well over the stumps on the bounce. They kept him to 2. Lovely soft hands though. Duke played that late. It's a good shot. It's even better fielding. And saving the boundaries. Really important, even at this early stage when there's 200 on the board to defend. And Finch doing a good job for his side here. As the sun reappears for us, which is good to see. On the scoop, and he's got another one.
Adam Finch is having a day out, isn't he?
Ethan Brooks
as we said the other night, made 58 in no time, but slightly different situation. Lithe clips this first ball of the next over away for a single. So Sutherland will be on strike against his fellow Aussie. And no doubt it's a key confrontation, because I would say, even though Lithe has played so well, somebody has got to go big somewhere along the line at the other end.
Well, I think at this point Yorkshire have now got to play flawless cricket to get out of this one, and they're capable of it. That's the key.
Down the leg side from Dorsius, he's got him, he's caught down the leg side, first ball. Sutherland has gone, strangled down the leg side, bit of pace from Dorsius, good diving catch from Gareth Roderick, and Yorkshire are in total disarray at 40 for 5 in the 6th over.
Well, strangled down the leg side. It's another really frustrating dismissal from a Yorkshire perspective. But Worcestershire won't mind that at all. Dorsius in the wickets as well now. And this seam-heavy start to proceedings is proving fruitful as we see Matt Revis make his way out to the middle. He would not have expected to be batting in the power play. Goodness me. Well, I said they needed to play flawless cricket. One ball later, 5 down. So if you're from the White Rose County listening in, sorry. Well, Matty Revis, really good cricketer. But what an astonishing scorecard this is, Frank, as we approach the last 4 balls of the power play. Of the 40 runs scored, Adam Lithe has 34.
Yeah, it is extraordinary, and I just wonder what the highest proportion of a total one player has scored in T20 cricket. It would be interesting to know that before this carries on. There's a long way to go, of course. Revis drives his first ball nicely, but straight to mid-off, and there's no run. So it's been a heck of a power play for Worcestershire. I said at the very start of the game, if you lose 3 in the power play, the wisdom is that you rarely go on to win the game. If you lose 5, well, I don't know if it's ever been done. I'm sure it has, but you can't see it unless somebody plays the innings of their life here. And it could be Revis that does that. He's off the mark with a beautiful drive on the up, through the covers, just leaned into it, given a bit of width by Dorsius, and effortless, lovely shot from Matty Revis, and he's off the mark. Adam Lithe, 34 off 19, has surveyed the carnage from the other end.
Do it on your own, son.
Revis, slightly open stance against the left arm over the wicket line of Dorsius, and he's getting a thick outside edge to this one, picking up a single. Out to backward point. Hindley the fielder, or is it Singh? One or the other, and I saw him warming up a few minutes ago, suggesting that as soon as the power play is over, he will be into the attack.
It'd be an interesting approach from Yorkshire as well here as the spinners come on. You feel like, as the run rate is already climbing,
yeah,
do you just go aggressive and go all out?
Yeah, I think
or do you try and stay in the game?
Lithe on strike as Dorsius bowls, and that's hit into the covers. Good bit of work by Ed Pollock in the covers, tumbling to his right. End of the over. Lithe keeps the strike. The power play is done, and the total is 46 for 5. The men out. Milan without scoring, Luxton for 1, Wharton for 2, Duke for 2, and Sutherland without scoring. It's a sorry looking list. Lithe stands alone.
Well, we're going to see Tom Hindley, one of the players that was thrust into the first team through that spate of injuries in the One Day Cup last year. Gave a good account of himself. Played at Sussex for a while, was at university as well, which is why it's taken a little while for him to find his way into regular cricket from a county perspective.
Had a little bowl in the Birmingham League yesterday, got a couple of wickets I think for Umbersley in a drawn game against Himley. Hindley against Himley it was yesterday.
In comes Hindley then, and just pushed down the ground for a single.
I think one thing he's got going for him, Jim, and he won't have it for long, is that there's quite a few people haven't seen him yet.
Well, that's important, isn't it? It's true of the batsmen as well, and they talk about, you know, Worcestershire's tricky second season in the county championship is that there's going to be a lot of data on these guys that have gone well. And you're right, a relative unknown quantity as he's in again. Big shout, wrapped on the pads.
Missing leg.
It's going down, isn't it? Yeah, pitched outside leg, going down leg, not much going for it. Apart from that, it's a little bit shorter this time. And drilled down to wide mid-off. It'll just be one though. Adam Hose patrols the boundaries. And that part of real estate for Worcestershire has done since he's been at the club. And he'll get a chance to bowl left-hander Adam Live. Just worked into the leg side. But Hindley won't mind that. Just working against the spin. We'll see if Hindley wants to throw a few up there, try and tempt Matt Revis. He's a ball striker. Again, a little bit leg side. Just got to work on his line here to the right-hander, because if he keeps putting it there, he's going to take LBW out of the equation. Pulled away, there's two men out there. It's straightish again, it's Adam Hose will do the fielding, and as first overs go, that's pretty solid stuff. To avoid a boundary really as a spinner at this stage in the game, with the run rate being north of 11, you can be happy with that.
Yeah, just 5 off the over, 1 dot, 5 singles, more than satisfactory from Brett D'Oliveira's point of view as the Worcestershire captain.
Ethan Brooks then.
They've got to target somebody, I think. Just wonder whether it might be Ethan Brooks.
Well, if it keeps going the way it is at the moment, Frank, they might have to target everybody.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They've got to go for somebody in particular, haven't they?
Yeah.
Ethan Brooks, who bowls, it's an irony really. He's been trying to put on a bit of pace in the red ball game to become the 5th seamer, but in this white ball format, it's all about variations really.
Oh,
a little bit of swing from his first ball. It's gone miles up in the air, and it is caught. So Lythe has gone. That's the big wicket which Ethan Brooks gets with his very first ball. It's another good catch in the deep by Tom Hindley. Steepler ran round, had lots of time, was underneath it, and waited and waited and waited and waited. In the end, he ended up catching it quite low down by his shins. It's a very good catch, and Adam Lythe goes, and surely now Worcestershire are going to wrap up, you would have thought, their first win of this T20 campaign. Can't see Yorkshire recovering from this position. Adam Lythe, who had held things together, has gone for 38. Ethan Brooks striking with his first ball, and it's 51 for 6. Who'd have thunk it?
I'd like to revise my past score prediction, Frank, to 112.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll write it down. I just going back to Ethan Brooks, it's about variations. It's about the one from the back of the hand, little knuckleball, etc. And he really is a man for all seasons, really, in many respects. He's got 100 in red ball cricket last season. He's played some key knocks this season, become the 5th seamer, brilliant in the field. And in this format, inventive with the bat and also quite creative and tricky with the ball. Starts Dom Bess's innings with the ball outside off stump, which is cut away for a single. And the other thing I've noticed him doing, the first time I've seen him do it, I haven't spoken to him about it yet, but he did it at Old Trafford the other night, and I think he just did it then. He doesn't do it in the red ball game, is that he started to just do a little skip as he runs up. And it's obviously just to try and disturb the batsman a little bit. Not every ball. This one is chopped down by Revis on the leg side.
Just to break his run.
Just to run up, and then just to break the.
He's fast becoming a bit of a safety valve for the skipper, isn't he?
It's
reliable.
It's amazing how quickly he's become a key man, I think, isn't it? Anyway, he started well here. Comes in again now. Revis drives. This one is out on the offside. And another good bit of fielding. Fielding tonight, or this afternoon, by both sides has been top class, I would say, really almost without exception. There's hardly been a fault in the field, and it's a massive, massive way in which the game has moved on, I think. Revis driving this one out on the offside and gets another single. I was making this point recently, Jim, to somebody when talking about comparing eras and how difficult it is, and of course it is in any sport. Talk about football and compare the pitches, for example. And this one is short, unfortunately, the end of the over, and it pulled away by Dom Bess down to fine leg for 4. So the end of the over, 59 for 6, 8 runs came from it, but the key wicket of Adam Lyth. And when I was saying about comparing eras, Jim, and saying that if you look at the numbers of a player from a previous era, let's just pluck for an example right out the air, Graham Gooch or Graham Hick, somebody like that. You look at their numbers and you think, well, you know, he got 1,000 this many times or whatever. How many of the boundaries that they hit would now be cut off by a diving, sliding fielder? How many of the 4s would actually be 2s? And I think it would be quite a large number, and it would affect the numbers quite a lot, really.
In comes Hindley again, driven down the ground. Will it beat the 2 men out in the deep? It will. Great shot. Controlled aggression, that, from Revis. Straight drive, beautiful shot to watch as well. It's a good point, Frank, isn't it? It's an interesting world where there was also a policy, of course, that bowlers would just, self-preservation when it comes to chasing the boundary. Now you see fast bowlers in the slips, things like that. It's incredible. As Hindley's in again, rocks back, can't make a connection. Does Revis.
But yeah, I mean, and then you could then go back another era and say, well, those batters' numbers, they played on uncovered pitches. How good must they have been?
Bat's about 2 inches thick. It's pushed through fuller this time. And squirts away off the pad, just be a single. Doing a good job for his captain here. He's Hindley. Keeping the batter guessing. Bess on strike. Onto the back foot, cut away, but there's a man out in the deep. Well, it's bats aren't what they are now. Bigger boundaries. Hindley in again, pushes that through and then just sends that out into the deep. Plenty of singles there if they want them, but singles won't be enough for Yorkshire here. That's the peril that they're in at the moment. They do need to rotate the strike and keep the scoreboard ticking, but getting close to 2 boundaries and over at this point as the run rate climbs over 12. Fuller ball drilled down the ground. Lovely shot, only be one. Adam Hose is there. Oh, sorry, Ethan Brook, apologies.
Good over.
And it's despite the boundary 4 first up. Neat and tidy stuff from Hindley. And I think bringing him in as another spinning option along with Fateh Singh, of course, who we're going to see in just a moment, just takes the pressure off Brett D'Oliveira, who's a very effective wrist spinner. Doesn't turn it a huge amount as a leggy D'Oliveira, but we haven't seen much of him. in the past year and a bit.
Well, he had a shoulder injury for quite a lengthy period of time. I also think you might see more of him if he weren't captain, but that is often the case as Singh starts, and Best plays a good reverse sweep, but only gets a single because Jacob Duffy at short third man makes a good tumbling stop. Hurt his knee in doing so, but only one. Singh again, very full, driven by Revis up to long on. Singles aren't hurting though, as Jim Dale alongside me was saying. Worcestershire at the moment in control. Best drives, and again just one. Good from Singh.
Yeah, it's
very much part of the plan, this, I would say, from D'Oliveira's point of view, getting the spinners on in the middle overs and not worrying too much about singles.
A little bit of grip for Singh as well there.
This one a little bit flatter. Hit straight to the fielder at extra cover, D'Oliveira.
He was a particular...
2 balls left, three singles.
Particular highlight at Old Trafford, I thought, Fateh Singh, the way he conducted his business.
Quicker again and flatter and driven. But 4 this time. Wide of the fielder. Nicely played. I was just going to say 4 gone, get through the over without going to the boundary. 5th ball does go to the boundary, so now 7 off the over. Pressure a bit on the bowler, this last ball. If he goes to the boundary again, then it's a good over for Yorkshire. He's in bowls, and he doesn't go to the boundary, just driven for a single. So it's kind of honours even, really, at the end of that over, with 8 runs having come from it, and the score 75 for 6 at the halfway point. So Worcestershire on top. It's the wickets that really hurt, because Dom Bess and Matthew Revis know that whilst they've got to take risks, they've also got to try and protect the tail, as it were.
Well, we're going to see Ethan Brooks from the other end. Variation is very much key in the modern game. Don't give batters a chance to line you up. So we'll see him from the other end. Into Revis. And drilled down the ground. There'll just be a single though. Pitched up from Ethan Brooks. Don't want to give them anything in the slot that they could send to the boundary. Bess on strike. He waits and just sat up a little slower, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just sat up in the surface, and all Bess could do was deflect it back to the bowler's general direction. So a dot ball. And Matt Revis has looked the more likely with his big, strong, long levers. Good cricketer, Bess. But by his own admission, I think he will admit that as D'Oliveira does the fielding and has a bit of fun with the crowd, that range hitting is not his natural game, I think it's fair to say, despite his many talents. As in comes Brook again, fired in, guided towards Fateh Singh, a chance to throw down the stumps. He's gone for the other end though. Positive running, but again we're dealing in singles and dots here, and Ethan Brooks, who he gets plenty of airtime, doesn't he? But rightly so. He's been a fantastic signing for Worcestershire. And there's that little skip that you were talking about, Frank.
Who was it? Somebody used to pull their face, didn't they? Darren Gough.
Yes.
Used to pull a face at the batsman.
Do big eyes and stick his tongue out, didn't he?
It's just something, isn't it? Just to challenge the batsman's attention in a way, and I think
Watts, the Scottish off spinner, would bowl 24 yard.
Yeah,
wouldn't they?
Didn't do it that time.
Cut away, picked up, but fumbled there by Tom Hinley. So, Jacob Duffy. I was momentarily undone by, well, I'll be honest, a relatively sizable dugout right in front of my eye. But it meant that what might have been a quick single turned into a leisurely one.
It's good over from Brooks, isn't it? 4 off it at this stage, really good. Thanks to Steve Price, the Ombersley scorer, who has been in touch. Heard me say Tom Hinley played yesterday. Scored 30 off 42 and then took 1 for 42 off 11 in a drawn game. Thanks, Steve. Love that. Get in touch if you'd like to on X or what used to be Twitter, @FrankWatson58. Always good to hear from you. Another single off the first ball of this over.
It's a wonderful game where the pros are playing in club cricket.
Yeah.
And you don't really get that in any other way. What a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It's part of the fabric of professional cricket still.
Singh again is in, and this one chipped down the ground for a single. You mentioned me playing that season in New Zealand. Over there, if there's no first-class cricket, they all play. So you could literally, and it did happen to me, you could be opening the batting against an all first-class, even a test attack at the weekend, and then the following week they could be playing on the TV against Australia or something.
Wonderful for an
extraordinary,
occasion, but not for a regular event.
No, even it just brilliant. This one is short and pulled away by Bess, and that's going to go down to the boundary. Quicker ball from Singh, didn't quite get the line right, and that's gone down to fine leg for 4. And the other experience I had was playing cricket against two All Black rugby players who happened to play league cricket when it wasn't the rugby season. So extraordinary. Quicker ball again from Singh, but this time he gets the line right, and it's right in the block hole.
Were they any good?
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing Premier League cricket, yeah.
Being hand-eye coordination.
Oh, that's
Sharp.
a very, very well played little reverse paddle from Best to complete the over. So 10 off that over, but they need more than 10, and they need to keep it up. But 89 for 6 off 12. The target, remember, is 202. And the men out: Milan without scoring, Luxton 1, Wharton 2, Duke 2, Sutherland without scoring, and the beacon amongst all of that prior to this pair, who have both gone past 20, was Adam Lyth, who made 38.
Well, good shot from Don Bess, Exonian from Exeter. Talented cricketer as Brooks is in again. And he's heaved that into the leg side. There's plenty on that. That's 6. Short from Ethan Brooks, a rare moment of losing one's length. He just sat there and asked to be hit, and Matt Revis obliged, launched it into the stands. There's a reason I mentioned that, Frank. I'm an Exeter City supporter.
Yeah,
I'm from Worcester,
yeah.
but I've played against the Exeter City squad in a game of cricket, which was an experience. Just worked into the leg side. Then manager Paul Tisdale was an MCC member,
right?
So he organised it, and they played the entire squad. They had 23 fielders, and that was an experience. And most of them had never played, but the hand-eye coordination was still really very good.
For a lot of them, I should think. Yeah.
Pro ball players are pro ball players. Not quite the Premier League, but in comes Brooks again. It's wide, well taken by Roderick. Within the realms of legality, but it has meant that Don Bess has lost his feet.
It's just important that the Worcestershire bowlers stay absolutely focused.
Better length this time, picked up by D'Oliveira. Good fielding, good running though, comfortably home for the single. As Yorkshire inch towards the 3 figures mark.
Because it looks as though it's done. And even I said a few overs ago, surely they're going towards their first victory. But you just got to be wary of a major assault.
It's squirted away down to the man on the 45 on the leg side for another single off the pad.
And when the first ball of the over goes for 6, as it did in this over, if Brooks can get to the end of the over without another one going to the boundary, and he's got 1 ball to go, that's a pretty good effort, really.
Can he close out the over?
And he can.
That's good bowling, isn't it? Fuller this time. And he's a young man who's absolutely in control of his art at the moment, Ethan Brooks. Contributes in all phases of the game.
Well, he's bowled 5 balls for 3 runs there, having gone for 6 off that first one. So that's a pretty good effort, I think, from Ethan Brooks. And Well, 7 overs remaining and 104 runs needed. It ought to be game over.
Well, I think it's important as well, isn't it? Even if you feel like you know where the direction of travel in this game is, that momentum going into the next one. Keeping that feel-good factor going. So Adam Finch is back into the attack. And, flat batted down the ground. Nice little footwork. Suitable cover down there. And most Worcestershire fans will be very happy with things, but Tom Taylor's lad doesn't seem too pleased with what he's seeing.
I know why. I saw it happen. It's horrible. He's a little lad of about 3 years old. He just put his hands on the fence and jumped up in the air, and when he came down he banged his mouth against the boundary fence. A bit of a shock. He was excited, jumped up and then banged his face.
Finch bangs this in. Best looks to dispatch it but can't get much on it, so it just drops into the leg side. Again, dealing in singles. That brings the 100 up for Yorkshire. About as an uneventful century mark as you could come across in T20 cricket, really. Such is the one-sided nature of this contest. Revis is there on 32 from 24. Don Bess is there on 22. So they're putting up a fight, these two. Again, played into a large amount of real estate. I think about 2, but in the end, combination of Ethan Brooks and Rob Jones, who's on as a substitute fielder. Restrict him to 1. Very popular figure here, Rob Jones. Big character. And thoroughly good company too. Former Lancashire man. That's Finch steaming into Don Bess. Bangs that one in. Bess goes on the charge.
Good bowling that. I always called it wide.
He thought about it for a long old time, didn't he? But he's called it wide, you're right.
Initially I thought, well, it was good bowling. He's responded in the correct way to the advances of the batsman, but maybe just a tiny bit too short. Tough ask for these batters now, isn't it? I suppose there's only one way to play. You just got to go for it and hope that you can pull off a miracle, I suppose.
For this time, and it's too much for Don Bess. Good pace from Finch. He's having a good afternoon. It's a tricky spot to be in, isn't it? Because you think, well, do we play for today, or do we? But if you get blown out by, bowled out for 115, then run rate starts to matter when you don't have points on the board. So do you play the long game, or do you play for the afternoon?
And the other thing is, we said right from the outset today, Jim, that both these sides were keen to get their first win on the board after the first loss.
Finch again, shorter this time, and that's going to find its way to the boundary. It's off the pad, despite the very best efforts of Gareth Roderick, who's knelt there.
No ball, I think it's a free hit. Is it? Oh no, they're just calling somebody on for a drink. I thought he was waving his arm in the free hit signal. It's off the body, actually.
Yeah, it's good bowling from Adam Finch, actually. It's
sorry, Jim, what I was going to say is the other thing when you start talking about wanting the first win and everything is that we also talked about momentum, didn't we, at the start of the season? I remember 2 years ago when Worcestershire lost their first 4 all away from home, and you thought, well, that was it. And the campaign really was done and dusted before it even got started. And if you lose your first one, you want to get that first win in the next one if you possibly can, and it looks as though Worcestershire are going to do that today. But Yorkshire are going to have 2 defeats on the trot, and if they're not careful, they lose their next one, and suddenly self-belief goes. And I think you often see, not always, there have been times where a team that's lost the first 3 or 4 has made it to finals day, but generally speaking, I think the teams that make it to finals day or to the quarterfinals are the teams that have got a couple of wins on the board fairly early on, I think.
Well, I think the nature of this, from a Yorkshire perspective, this is going to be really tough to take, because while Worcestershire really didn't have that firepower latterly in their batting lineup to really properly threaten what wasn't a huge score to chase down, Yorkshire will come to this feeling like we've got a powerful batting attack, if nothing else, a batting lineup, being the position they were in, but to be out of this in terms of a contest really as early as the first 7 overs, trying to pick yourself up. There were positives to take from their defeat on Friday, positives to take from Worcestershire's defeat on Thursday, but this is, I suppose, confirmation that Worcestershire were right to feel good about it. It's been a really a well-measured, well-paced, highly competent first innings, with no little skill as well. And a combination of some good bowling from the Worcestershire attack and some not great decision making, if we're honest, from a Yorkshire perspective.
Incidentally, there must have been a contact with the helmet on that one that went to the boundary from Dunbess, although I thought it hit his body, because we've been through the full concussion protocol, which you've probably seen on our screens, and the physio came out and they've checked everything and replaced the helmet, and he's been cleared to carry on. Fuller
this time, and clipped away. Is that off the pad as well?
I think
yes,
so,
it is,
yeah.
Slightly duller sound, wasn't it? For the short stuff, aggressive bowling from Finch, and he followed up with a good Fuller delivery as well. That'll complete the 14th over. 107 for 6 the score, as the required rate creeps towards 16.
Yeah. Well, it's not impossible. But if you needed 16 and over off 2, you'd say you were alive. You need it off 5, then I think, or 6, then I think it's a tall order when you're 6 down already. Jacob Duffy coming back into the attack so far. He has bowled 2 overs and conceded 19 runs. And his first ball has gone many a mile over square leg for 6. That is huge from Don Bess, who's unaffected by the blow on the helmet by the look of it. In fact, it was Matt Revis. No, it wasn't. It was Bess. He's gone to
Bess, yeah.
28 off 23. Revis 33 off 25. These two just about keeping the contest alive. But yeah, Duffy 1 for 25 now. Heaved away for another one on the leg side. Kashif Ali fielding.
Actually, these two have actually put on 63.
Yeah.
64. 63. 63 they've put on, and it's a really good rear guard. At least they've kept the Yorkshire ship afloat, haven't they?
Oh, they certainly have. But you've done them, and it's a clever bit of bowling from Duffy. Slower and a Yorker, I think, and right in the block hole, and he's done him almost in the air, really. Yeah, clever, at the back of the hand, and the length perfect. And Revis completely deceived by lack of pace, and it dipped on him. Very, very good bit of bowling from Jacob Duffy, and that looked like somebody who's one of the best T20 bowlers in the world, didn't it? It was a very, very well executed slower ball, and it ends that excellent partnership. And surely that ends any hope that Yorkshire might have had.
Back of the hand Yorker, really skilled. It's that dip that makes it difficult. Whenever you think about those slower ball Yorkers, I always think about Steve Harmison to Michael Clarke in the Ashes. Iconic delivery, but that's just too good for Matt Revis, isn't it? He's played a good hand for his side. Tall all-rounder. But how do you respond to being absolutely clattered out the ground? Well, you serve up one of the most difficult skills to do as a fast bowler and get rid of your man.
Yeah, really clever. Zephyr Chowan is the new man. thankless time to come. 88 runs required off 33 deliveries. And he chips his first ball up in the air on the leg side. Picks up a single.
Yep, rather more luck than judgment, that one. But this is composed stuff from Jacob Duffy. 115 for 7 the score. Best still there on 29 not out. That run rate though well north of 16. Worcestershire bowlers in the hunt for wickets here.
Sliced away by Bess. One bounce down to third man. Good bit of fielding from Fateh Singh. Moving around to his right. Only a single. Can't really fault Worcestershire today, Jim, in their cricket generally, can you? Can't really point to an area that hasn't been more than satisfactory. 200 scored. Good bowling, good fielding, good catching. Duffy beats the bat again. Chowan looks to slice that away. At the end of the over again, the first ball went for 6, but the response after that from the bowler was excellent. And at the end of it, Yorkshire a long way short of where they need to be. 116 for 7 off 15 overs, 86 balls, 86 runs required off 30 balls.
Well, Adam Finch is going to finish out his allotted overs. And it's not often in the modern game, Frank, you see a seamer absolutely sprinting to the umpire to give him his sweater.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
He's a happy man. He's had a tough season, Adam Finch, one way and another, and it's been a bit fed up.
2 for 14 from his 3 overs and affected a run out. In he comes. Bess heaves that into the leg side, doesn't time it, so Ethan Brook will do the fielding. And then Jaffa Chauhan on strike. But yes, it's been an up and down couple of years for Adam Finch, and this will do him the world of good in terms of confidence. He's varied his pace, varied his length, got a couple of good Yorkers in as well. Made a key contribution here on his way in to Chauhan, and whether it's body or pad, they'll still scamper through for a single.
Yeah, it's too much now, isn't it? And you know, pretty horrible time to come in for Chowan. Pretty horrible time to come in for basically the second half of the order, really, after the start that Yorkshire got, but it happens.
Adam Finch then steaming in. That's a lovely little ramp shot. What a good shot that is. And it's gone for 4.
So well executed, isn't it?
It's effortless, wasn't it? You barely hear a noise off the bat as well. You just time it nicely, well executed. Got his body out of the way, Frank. Tumbled away. Unlike
the thing is, if you play, it's premeditated, obviously. You've almost got to be prepared for the ball to come anywhere, but you've got to believe. You've got to go with it, haven't you?
And in the end, too much for Don Bess. Looks to heave that away.
You know, you can't. If you think, right, I'm going to play a ramp shot, you can't give up on it halfway through, or not commit fully to it. You've got to believe that wherever that ball is, you're going to get yourself in the right position. And that ball was 6-8 inches outside off stump, and he still played it. Totally committed. He's played well, Don Bess. He likes batting against Worcestershire. 100 at Headingley as a night watchman.
Yep, really good all-round cricketer. He's doing himself no harm. He got deep in his crease there, but he's just been dropped on his backside by a short, quick delivery.
Ramp that, mate. Yeah.
But going back to your previous point, Frank, yeah, from a Worcestershire perspective, built partnerships, played aggressive, targeted the right balls, constructed a really good total. Not often we get 200 in the bowling plans. Spot on. And again, a bit too quick for Best to try and
very good
uppercut that away, but it's another really good over from Adam Finch.
Yeah, really good over from Adam Finch.
Four overs, 2 for 19.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant effort from him. Affected a run out as well. Pretty much since he's come into the attack, he's had his foot on the chest of the Yorkshire batsman. And for what's been a pretty up and down county championship campaign for Adam Finch, he has been decent, particularly in the early overs in white ball cricket. As Ben Dwarshus is going to come back into the attack.
Playing a miss from Jaffa Chowan, who's on absolute hiding to nothing at the moment. And you really do sympathise. I mean, you've got to throw the bat at everything. Absolutely nothing else for it. But almost zero chance of victory. However, he does throw the bat at this one and he chips it away on the leg side, and he picks up a single, which at least gets him off the strike, gets Don Bess onto strike. Don Bess, the senior man, 35 not out off 30 deliveries, but it's going to be in vain. 79 required off 22, and Worcestershire on the brink of their first victory of the 2025 Vitality Blast competition, having lost narrowly, it must be said, by just 7 runs to Lancashire up at Old Trafford in the first game. Bess is going to be out here. He's sliced this away on the offside, and Ethan Brooks has dropped it. He's not out. Ethan Brooks, the most reliable of catchers for Worcestershire, running forward, and it dipped on him, went quite high. It's not going to cost too much, but he's spilled the catch as he hit the ground. Our view was slightly obscured by the Worcestershire dugout. Just watching a replay of it now. Yeah, it didn't ever quite get there actually. Just fell a bit short. Dwarshus again bowls, and big swing from Jaffa Chowan to this one, and there's no run.
Well, he's a fabulous fielder in every context, really, wherever you put him. One thing I suppose we could say in his defence is that white, like slightly dirty white greyish ball goes up into those white and grey clouds.
Yeah. I think the other thing we'll say in his defence, Jim, is if you're going to drop one, do it when the game's already won, rather than when you're in the slips in a red ball game or when it's vital. Dwarshus with a clever bit of bowling here, change of pace, slower bouncer, completely foxed Chowan, and we've just seen signs today that Dwarshus and Duffy have started to go through their repertoire of T20 variations. Really didn't see that so much at Old Trafford, where I thought they were just trying to bowl pretty quick most of the time. It's been good to see. Dwarshus bowls, and he beats Chowan again outside the off stump, so that's 3 dots on the trot to finish that brilliant over from Dwarshus, who takes his sweater. And Worcestershire just a few minutes away from wrapping it up now. Just 2 runs off that over, and a drop catch, it must be said. Wow. It's 124 for 7 off 17.
We'll see if Ethan Brooks can atone for it on a direct level. He's going to have a bowl now. He's right, really good slower balls in that over, wasn't it, from Ben Dwarshus? And you've got to have all of those skills, you've got to have all of those capabilities. As this game throws so much at you from a bowling perspective. It'll be Brooks to Bess. It's worked into the leg side. They'll think about 2. And Rob Jones is in. And he thinks better of that.
When people decry T20 cricket, Jim, I think sometimes it's games like this that they point to, isn't it? It's not been much of a contest, really.
On the charge, Chauhan.
And you do feel that we're just kind of, we're going through the motions now, and that can happen, and it could happen in 50-over cricket as well, and it could happen in, I suppose, in the old Sunday League. There was odd games like this, but Worcester have just played so well, and Yorkshire haven't really.
Crunch down the ground, it's a good shot, just for 1. Yeah, it's just the nature of high-end competitive sport, isn't it?
Well, Champions League final. Yeah, there you go.
Not every game can be an absolute
not a great
blockbuster.
Contest, no.
But if you're a home fan here today, then you'll be mainly delighted. Short and pulled away, not got all of it. So Rob Jones back into action.
I think if you're a home fan, Jim, and you follow Worcestershire in all forms, you're probably delighted, and we would count ourselves, both of us, in that category. You're delighted to see a performance where everything appears to have been achieved as it should have been, if you know what I mean. They've gone out with a plan, they've batted in a certain way, they've bowled to a plan, they've fielded well. It's all been
slower ball there.
It's all been very tidy cricket, hasn't it?
Well, I'll pick you up on one word there, Frank, and it goes back to a conversation we had at the start of last T20 Blast when things were a little bit up and down. It was plan.
Yeah.
You feel like this side do have a plan,
yeah,
which is really important. As here comes Brooks again on the charge there. Clatters into Chauhan. It's just as well because he was well out of his ground. He might have been in a bit of bother, but it's another neat and tidy over. The opposite of dramatic, but that's okay.
Yeah, I
Worcestershire look to close out this game, but it feels like they're trying to build an identity again, and have those plans in the field, particularly because when things don't go your way, and it will happen in this format, someone will just go off on you. Knowing what your roles are and the sort of things you need to be doing, having those strategies and game plans in place, and it feels like that's what we've seen today.
Yeah, well, you use the word plan, and Alan Richardson used the word blueprint. We have a blueprint for how we want to play, and I think that's been shown today. Dorsius in bowls, and Chauhan tries to ramp him, just gets a sort of toe end on it, and it goes around the corner for a single. How about this? Ethan Brooks at Old Trafford, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 26. Ethan Brooks today, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 26.
Well, I'm not seeing any clear improvement, Frank. I'm furious. Well, look, again, safety valve.
Yeah.
He's just so reliable, isn't he?
It's extraordinary, isn't it, though, to have identical figures in 2 such different games. Dorsius in bowls, and another big swing and a miss from Chauhan. I don't think I've seen a seamer go past the bat with the frequency that Dorsius has in the last 2 or 3 overs. Variations of pace and length, and Chauhan 4 off 12. He's had a swing and a miss at quite a few. Young leg spinner coming in low down in the order.
Sooner rather than later, a fast Yorker might be coming his way.
It's going to be a big margin of victory, this. Gets a bat on this one. In fact, very effectively driving it away through the covers. Brilliant sliding stop, though, by Ethan Brooks. Means they only get 2, could easily have been 4. And, yeah, as I say, a lot of T20 games fade very quickly into the memory. I think that's one of the things about the shorter format, the shortest format. But margins of victory, off the top of my head, I have no idea as Dorsius bowls another dot ball. But I can't think of many where you win by over 50 runs batting first. There might be 1 or 2. Certainly rare. Over 60, even rarer. But it's going to be comfortable, to say the least. 8 balls left, and they've won, to all intents and purposes. Whatever happens. And this one is sliced away in the air on the offside, and this time Ethan Brooks takes the catch. Dorcas gets his wicket, Showen has gone, and it's 133 for 8.
Well, better late than never, eh? And Ed Pollock just shrugging his shoulder, saying, "About time, Brooksy." Plenty of smiles all round from the Worcestershire fielders. And Dan Moriarty makes his way out to the middle as the grey skies make for quite a gloomy vista, but there'll be plenty of smiles around Visit Worcestershire New Road this afternoon as they see their home side close in. As Frank says, a comprehensive victory here. The required rate is creeping up towards 60 now, Frank. And,
I don't think they'll get them.
No, it's going to be a tough ask. And there's a bit more rain in the skies here. In comes Dorcas.
Moriarty swings at a short one. Again, nice change of pace from Dorcas. That was a superb over. 1 for 3 off the over. All odds stacked in the favour of the bowler, of course. But I think the other thing is, you know, we talked about this blueprint and this plan and all the rest of it. We talked about Duffy and Dorcas being brought in, and there was some cynics after Lancashire on Thursday saying, well, it doesn't matter who bowls if you're going to go for 40 odd. We've got people in the second team who could do that. Why have we spent money on overseas bowlers, etc.? I think today they've answered their critics to some extent.
So, cut away. But only to that man on 45. To your earlier question, Frank, currently the margin, Yorkshire need another 59 runs to win, and if 69, sorry. And if they get turned over the next 2 balls, then it's going to be in the top 5 highest margins of victory in Worcestershire's history.
Interesting.
As that's played out into the leg side, Ethan Brooks scoops the ball up from the now sodden turf as the heavens open from above us.
Well, they inflicted a record victory over Worcestershire in the Championship, Yorkshire, so maybe it's a little bit of payback. It is raining quite hard now, isn't it? It's again, I don't think it'll last for too long, but
we might be in the position by which, well, they're just going to see
they'll
out these
finish
4 balls, surely.
Yeah.
Cricket doesn't always help itself. I think it's just one to get through here.
Just ball 3 off breaks and block them, I reckon. As Dolliver tries for a run out, she doesn't get. But yeah, just to finish that point, people saying,
come off here, Frank.
Yeah, people saying, why have we spent all this money? Well, they've answered that today. They've shown, haven't they, that this is what they're capable of, and this is a farce now, isn't it?
Well, there are 3 balls left to complete this game. The heavens have opened. We might see a sizable break here and then come back for 3 balls, which feels daft. I think shake hands and move on with your life.
Yeah,
more aptly, I think, Frank. While it's not necessarily in the spirit of what cricket's supposed to be, bowling 3 offies and just getting out of dodge is a much better idea.
Yeah, much better. Very, very silly, I think.
But there we are.
There we are.
As to your previous point, Worcestershire's biggest margin of victory in T20 cricket, over 100 runs, in fact.
Okay.
Against Glamorgan. That was back in 2009. Then you're in the 70s, 74 against Yorkshire, in fact. So there's a reasonable expectation that this will be right up there as well. A couple of 50 pluses, but I mean, generally, anything north of 50 runs is an absolute mullering, I think, in T20 cricket, as the Worcestershire players make their way up to the pavilion steps to much applause, cheer and merriment of a now umbrellaed, hatted and coated Worcestershire membership contingent. And,
who will now be going home? I think most people go home now.
Well, it would be a real shame to see this game conclude in what's been a fantastic home performance by Worcestershire Rapids, their first home game at Visit Worcester New Road of the season, and everyone's piling out of the exits as well they might, because we know the direction of travel in this game. So imagine coming back out for the last 3 balls to an empty stadium with just you and I for company, Frank.
Yeah, well, it could well happen. Or the umpires say, well, you know, can't get back out there and pretend that the rain's worse than it is and they can just call it off anyway. But either way, Worcestershire have been comprehensive victors here over a Yorkshire side who have not performed well on the day. Worcestershire made 201 for 5 in their 20 overs and Yorkshire 135 for 8 with 19 and a half overs completed. Only Adam Lyth 38 and Matty Revis 33 and Don Bess, who's 41 not out, have made any impression whatsoever. With the bat, Worcestershire have bowled well. I was going to say Dorsius and Duffy have answered their critics with a display which is to some extent explained why they are so highly rated in the white ball game, and Worcestershire have had a good day.
Well, just Old Trafford being what it was, is travel halfway around the world, play a new format, and you're right, Frank, we've seen all the tricks and skills and that particularly popular modern word of execution, which they absolutely have delivered on. And as the rain continues to fall here at Visit Worcestershire New Road, there is a reasonable chance you won't hear us again this afternoon. If common sense prevails, I think they may well just shake hands, the game being as it is already concluded as a contest. But thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon. My name's Jim Dale, Frank Watson alongside me, and it's been a pleasure to call the game for you on the Worcestershire live stream.